Welcome back to another episode of Enter the Nerdom. I'm here with co-hosts
Stan Morrissey.
Ooh, Watson Bradshaw.
And I am Chad Cook. And we are accompanied by the amazing Matt Zunick once again through Zoom, through the electric waves.
From the LA Ghostbusters.
Yes, from the LA Ghostbusters.
Ooh, I'm coming to you from beyond the ether of the world.
that is weird how you have flames all over your body.
Yeah,
What's
that's
up with
crazy.
that? You didn't die in a tenement fire, did you?
It's canon now.
Yeah.
Like, I didn't want to, bring the ghost out of the trap, but I guess it's already out there. I am actually a ghost, and
I knew it.
I really
That's
appreciate it. If you guys just keep this under your hat, don't tell the other LA Ghostbusters.
I thought so. When I saw him walk through that door, I was like, there's something up with this guy. Yeah.
Yeah.
Also, I've never seen him eat or drink anything.
That's true.
Oh, that's true.
Well, it's because if he did, it would just fall right out of me.
Exactly.
We wouldn't want to mess.
Yeah.
It was my aura that gave it off, was it? My aura glow.
So I'm thinking,
It was in the certain light, and we just noticed it. We were like, oh, look at that.
Also, how you exploded in the past, like the librarian ghost. That was kind of suspect.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. I mean, you guys have me figured out. I just, I can't keep up. Yeah. But thank you so much for having me. I'm really happy to be here.
Thank you for coming
Yeah,
on.
thank
Really
you so
appreciate
much.
it. Yeah, truly. So we should probably talk about what happened yesterday with you and the AMC Theater, the LA's Ghostbusters and AMC Theater. If you could talk to us about how that happened and how you set it up, and first let me preface by saying yesterday Ghostbusters Frozen Empire premiered, and we went to go see it at AMC Burbank 16, and it was hosted by the LA Ghostbusters.
Fantastic
which is an amazing event. Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, thank you so much, guys. Yeah, I'd love to talk about it. So, we heard that this little movie, Ghostbusters Frozen Empire, was coming
little
out,
indie film.
and we were looking around, and we were like, at the time, there really wasn't, the premiere was happening in New York. We knew that was going to happen. But there wasn't really anything going on in LA. There wasn't even, at the time, there wasn't even a friends and family screening for the cast and crew who worked on it. That later did get scheduled, but at the time that we started exploring our own options for a fan screening, there wasn't one. So we started talking about, like, hey, is there a theater that we really like that, we might want to reach out to maybe host a fan screening? And we all kind of landed on AMC Burbank 16. It's a little centralized for all of us, kind of spread out in the different provinces of Los Angeles. And so I reached out to the management there by just showing up one day and talking to the general manager, who just so happened to be there, and telling him a little bit about us, our charity work and some of the different events we've done. And he said that they would love to have us, but that we had to get the approval of Sony Pictures and their distribution department, because they're ultimately the ones who have to sign off on all this stuff. Like, if you're going to come do an event dressed as a character in the movie, where you're doing an event, not just showing up out of, the goodness of your heart.
Right.
You need to get their approval. And we've had this really long, wonderful relationship with Sony and all the people there. And so getting their approval was as easy as asking. And they said, absolutely, no big deal. You guys do whatever you like. And we said, perfect. And so we were able to negotiate parking our Ectomobile out front. We had a lovely little setup and tons of prizes to give away. And people were asked that if they wanted to win a prize, that they would donate $5 to the Starlight Children's Foundation. And they got to spin our prize wheel. And they were always guaranteed a winner. You'd either win a poster, maybe some of the new Ghost Pepper Ghostbusters themed Flaming Hot Cheetos, a mini poster. We also had some comic books from the old IDW line. And so everybody who donated walked away a winner, no matter what.
That's great.
That's awesome.
It was really great. We ended up raising, and granted, when we first started doing Ghostbuster stuff in 2021, we were doing conventions where we would make maybe $300 over a 3-day weekend.
Yeah, wow.
Maybe. And last night we ended up raising $615, and that's just having a little table set up in a movie theater that did not have regular traffic at all for only about 5 hours. And it was just so rewarding to see so many fans come out, so many families, and people who were just generally excited to either see Ghostbusters, and some people were seeing Dune, and they were just like, I just like the fact that you guys are here, and I'm going to donate. And we were just over the moon for it. It was absolutely amazing.
That's so great.
And then, of course, at 9 p.m., we into the screening that we decided the 9 p.m. screening was the one that we were going to be in. Mm-hmm. We were given the option to buy out the theater and sell tickets ourselves.
Oh.
That would have cost us a very pretty penny that I don't know if we would have been able to make back.
Right.
So we just said, nah, you know what? We'll link people to this particular screening, but we're just going to go ourselves. We're not going to buy out the theater. But after seeing the crowd last night, I honestly think we could have made our money back.
I was going to say, it looked really full. So I don't know. Yeah, I don't know what the final count ended up being, the tally, but it looked full.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it ended up being somewhere between like 125 and 150.
That's awesome. Congratulations.
Yeah, it was great. Thank you. It was absolutely fantastic. A lot of people came out. It was just so awesome. And the storyboard artist who storyboarded the entire film, he was there.
Oh, wow.
And we got to chat with him afterwards. I knew you guys were there, and I wanted to like come say hi and actually like talk for a few minutes, but we ended up like turning around and the guy who storyboarded the movie was there.
Of course.
We get it.
It's okay. It's okay.
Yes.
He was like, I'll see you guys tomorrow. Don't worry.
Yeah, exactly.
I did think like, well, I will be talking to him tomorrow. So, but yeah, it was so cool to like talk to him and kind of, see how he kind of felt about the movie and how his process worked. And it was, the whole day was extremely tiring, but super rewarding. Just so much fun.
You were there the entire day?
I was there pretty much the entire day.
Wow.
We left the car there at 9, and I came back around 12:15, 12:30.
Man.
And then I was there through pretty much 11:45 at night when the movie got out.
Oh my god!
And we had that conversation with him, and by the time I left, it was close to 11:45, almost midnight.
Yeah, when I saw you, you were going into Yard House, and you had your overalls down around your waist, and it looked like you had just come back from a Ghostbusting job. Like he just like
cigarette hanging out of his mouth.
The traps are sitting in the car, ready to get dumped in the into the tank, and he's just gonna go get a beer after work.
That was the whole intention. We went over there, and I had our cash box, and I just needed to know how much did we actually make that night? And so my buddy was like, "Do you actually want to get a drink and sit at the bar and count the cash?" And I was like, "Well, would you put it that way?" Not really, but I gotta know.
Yep.
But yeah, no, I did get a drink, which was very refreshing because we broke down the whole setup. Everything we brought ultimately went back into my car.
Oh, wow.
And since I had a whole system of how this stuff needed to stack, because our containment unit, which we brought with us, the way that it has to stack in the car is very particular because it can't it's heavy enough that it can't sit on top of a lot of stuff, but it's also delicate enough that you can't put a lot of stuff on top of it. Oh. So you have to kind of be judicious about how you choose to stack things. And I normally would have just trusted my team to be like, hey, guys, break this down, just put it in my car, use your best judgment. But in this particular case, I needed to be just a little bit more hands-on because I knew how it had to go together, and it wasn't something that I could completely communicate effectively to a group of other nerds who were also very tired. So I was like, you know what, I'm just going to go down there and I'm going to let them break it all down and bring it to me, but then I'm going to have to be the one who loads it.
Well, and now you get to trash that containment unit and get a bigger and better one.
That's right.
For the next convention.
Yeah. After this movie, we're gonna need a bigger containment unit for sure.
On your containment unit, an idea just popped up in my head because you do take donations at cons and other events like that. But what if the containment unit was the donation jar? People get to dump it.
Put some cash in a
it turns
trap
green
and
throw it
in
against or something like that.
Oh, that's not bad. That's not a bad idea at all. You know, what's funny is that the Ghostbusters community has been dubbing the new yellow bumpers on the proton packs as the yellow thong. So maybe people can just start stuffing their dollars
in the yellow thong.
Exactly.
It's for children's charity, guys.
Yeah.
I feel like
Hey.
there's just some kind of Ghostbusters burlesque is going to go on after this.
I mean, you do anything for the children. You
Yeah.
know, you know.
We say anything, we mean anything. No, there is a Ghostbusters burlesque show.
Really?
I know.
I've heard of it.
They have the Empire Strips Back
Uh-huh.
Star Wars
Yeah.
one. There is a Ghostbusters one. I know it's out there. I've seen like some online promotion for it.
Makes sense.
I have not seen it myself, but I know it's out.
Who are you gonna catcall? You know.
There you go.
Oh,
There you go. See.
busting makes me feel good.
Yep. Exactly.
Oh no.
So. Hey, but they said it in the movie, so it was all good.
Yeah, it's a quote.
So we should probably get to the movie itself.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. What did you guys think about? What did you think about it? And tell me some of the pros and cons to it, and ways you can make it better, and the things you loved about it. What do you think of it?
You want me to go first?
Yeah. Go ahead.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. So overall, actually, before I get into my opinion of it, I just want to say that I think film criticism is a very nuanced art form, the same way that I think film is a very nuanced, or can be a very nuanced art form, depending on the film.
Mm-hmm.
The critical response to Frozen Empire that I have seen has not been especially glowing.
Correct. Yeah.
And while I don't disagree with some of the criticisms, I do find that there is this tendency to say that either the movie is amazing or that the movie sucks.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
And I don't think the movie is either of those things. I think there are elements of it that are amazing, and there's definitely elements of it that maybe didn't work as well as they might have hoped. So I kind of fall somewhere in the middle. I really enjoyed the movie, and granted, I will say, let's put the bias out there. As a huge Ghostbusters fan, I'm probably more biased than your average film goer. And as somebody with a active working relationship with the studio that made it, there's also a little bit of bias there.
Yeah.
I don't necessarily want to throw them under the bus because I know the people who worked on it. I know they worked really hard, and no one wants a bad movie. But there's definitely elements to the movie that I think could have been stronger. But I will say, definitively for me, I really had a good time with this movie. As someone who grew up with the real Ghostbusters animated series and the
we all did,
Ghostbusters animated series, I thought that this was about as much fun as a live-action version of those cartoons could have been.
I would agree.
Yep.
Yep.
I think that the story dynamic, I won't get into spoilers just yet, but the story dynamic between Gary Gruberson, played by Paul Rudd, and Phoebe Spangler, played by McKenna Grace, I think that storyline is really interesting, really fascinating, and should have been the greater emotional core of the film. And I think it was always intended to be.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, where my biggest criticism is that storyline kind of gets a little weighted down with the plot. And the plot is fine. There's nothing wrong with it inherently. It's just it's a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
And that stuff is all entertaining, but it takes so long for it all to kind of come to fruition.
Yeah.
While we're also dealing with the Gary and Phoebe story, while we're dealing with the Phoebe kind of in her rebellious phase, seeking like emotional grounding elsewhere. Again, not going to spoil that just yet. But I kind of felt like you had all these storylines all kind of happening. They're all interesting in their own right, but when you get to the end of the movie, you kind of look back and you go, I really think that some of this could have been a little bit more simplified, a little more streamlined. But at the end of the day, there's nothing that I disliked necessarily. I didn't dislike anything in this movie. I just felt like there were a few things that could have been a little more streamlined. But overall, I really had a great time.
I totally agree with that. I mean, I feel like, I think same kind of thing. There was a lot of side quests going on, and a lot of, like, there were multiple characters introduced where you could have pared it down a bit.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, I love, like, Patton Oswalt is great, and James Acaster are great. That could have been one character, really,
Yeah.
There was a lot of that, and a lot of, I feel like they are building to more movies. It feels like there's a lot of setup for future events.
For sure.
That they were, and I thought, Afterlife, I thought was great. I went into this wanting a real Ghostbusters adventure, basically. I wanted, like, okay, we've done the prep work. We've done the setup of who these characters are. Let's see where we go from here. And frankly, I was like, there's not a lot of busting going on. You see them, and this is in the trailer. We see the sewer dragon scene, and that's a lot of fun. And then it goes straight into, like, the plot of the movie. And you're right, it's a lot of setup for the plot. A lot of there's a lot of road there that they laid out before the and so I would like to see it a little bit more, like them as a unit.
Yeah.
But
well, I mean, since this is the first time we're seeing them as actual Ghostbusters, you have to let it ruminate and, like, them evolve into their roles. So I get this is another movie kind of setting them up.
Yeah.
Where they're who are they going to be in the following
but
movies?
Even with like 84, like Ghostbusters original and even Ghostbusters 2, you get those, like, montages of them going on.
Of course,
before Winston joins the Ghostbusters, you see them, like, exhausted.
Yeah.
And because they've just been at it, and
that's
like,
true.
I wanted a little bit more of that,
I can agree with that. If you remember in 1 and 2, whenever they were in a previous scene talking about, like, who or what it is, and then the next scene they're investigating the museum in the second one, but they already know who Vigo is. They already looked it up, so it's just a little short conversation before they enter the building.
Yeah, I looked it up in Tobin Spirit Guide.
Yeah, and then, like, in the first one in jail, they kind of explain, like, a bit more of the oh my god, I'm blanking on his name.
Zool?
Who built for Gozer built the structure.
What's his name?
Sandor.
Yes. There we go.
Yeah.
But so
Matt's like, I'm right here, guys.
No, yeah. I feel they could have done that where it's kind of jumped the whole, going to a certain person here and then here to figure out what was going on.
I was like, it's very side questy.
Yeah.
Yeah, there was a lot of that.
Plus, in the cartoons, obviously the cartoons are only like 15, 20 minute, if I recall. And like
like 22 minutes.
20, and the demon or whatever is released immediately. So with the title Frozen Empire, I thought going in, that's what I thought was going to happen.
Yeah.
We would get him like reigning through New York throughout the movie, and then we have to.
Oh, okay.
Because if you remember in the trailer, they're wearing all those parka red coats. There was never that scene. We never got to see.
There's a lot in the trailer that
I think it was a trick
got cut.
Yeah. Well, we could get into that when we get.
We'll get into spoilers.
It definitely feels like there's like 30 minutes of this movie that was cut out. There's probably a lot of that on the cutting room floor that was included.
This definitely felt like a 3-hour movie cut down to just over 2 hours.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, which I don't necessarily know. You know what? I'll go out on a limb. I'll say I would have preferred a longer movie where each of the plot lines is given its time to shine.
I could agree with that.
Because I think, like we were saying before, that none of the plot lines are bad. It's just that they don't really feel as fleshed out as they could have been.
Right.
And without one to kind of anchor everything. After the first 30 minutes, which I think that the first act is great.
I agree.
Super, super good stuff. Classic Ghostbusters. I do have one minor nitpick that I'll get into. But the first 30, 45 minutes, I'm like, yeah, we're back, baby.
Yeah.
And then the plot kicks in, and it's just kind of not a slog necessarily.
But it does slow it down.
Because there isn't one plot line that is, that is just excellent in its own right.
Right.
They're all good. They all are just good happening simultaneously, and the cutting between them is a little clunky in terms of the overall pacing.
Yeah.
And so when you get to the end, then the end is I think the ending is great, but it does feel like, oh, it's over already.
Yeah, I did
Kind of thought that would be more of a thing. But,
Yeah.
all right.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. And again, not that anything in it is bad. It's just that I think this movie is it suffers from 1,000 cuts.
Yes.
Yeah.
I would have preferred an extra 20 minutes to let everything breathe a little bit more.
Definitely.
And give the, like I was saying, the Gruberson and Phoebe story just a little bit. Let that be the emotional anchor for the whole movie, the same way that Phoebe's ties or the mystery surrounding her relationship to her grandfather. Sort of like how that was the emotional anchor of Afterlife.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I say this should have been the emotional anchor of this movie, and there's so much potential for drama in that story too.
True.
And it's so relatable, and it also touches on family dynamics that I don't think we see portrayed in movies in a positive light either.
Right.
Yeah.
That I felt like they really had an opportunity to do something really special there, and I do think that they shot it this way. I just think that it was cut down for the sake of the runtime, because everybody complained that Afterlife is too long, and it is long. It's 2 hours and 15. I actually think this one should have been the longer movie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Correct.
Because
Yeah.
this one I think is just under 2. It's like 1 hour 55
Yeah.
is what I saw.
Yeah,
So,
yeah, it really should have been longer.
Yeah.
Because there's so much going on, and not all of
Right.
it is given the time to breathe.
Right.
Yeah.
And it
And
feels like
that's
very much
kind of the problem.
we're going to cut it to this time so we can have so many screenings of it during a day. It's like hour 55
Yes.
seems very strategic.
That's true.
Yeah, it felt like a business decision and not
Yeah,
a,
exactly.
Right.
an art or expression.
Especially
Yeah, I
with
agree.
all the jokes going on with the Oscars about them talking about how Oppenheimer and
Right.
Killers of the Flower Moon were too long. Like, people were complaining about how, like, we don't need these 3-hour films, So I think that kind of probably influenced them, maybe a tad, just to be like, let's keep it a little short.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, and the original Ghostbusters is, I think, just over an hour and 40.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it's only like 95 minutes. It's a very brief movie,
Yeah.
and it doesn't weigh you down with exposition.
Right.
Yeah.
It like, how do they get the proton packs? It doesn't matter.
Yeah, they just have
got
them.
them.
They just got 'em.
They got them.
Yeah, so-
They suited up.
Yeah. How did Ray fix up that car so fast? It doesn't matter. He just did.
Yeah.
Like, the movie doesn't waste time bogging you down with information that ultimately you don't need to know.
Mm-hmm.
I do think that most of the exposition in this movie you kind of do need to know.
Mm-hmm.
I just think that they repeat it a few too many times. Like the whole, well, we'll get into sort of the lore behind Garaka, the big monstrous villain, but they kind of repeat some information. We learned some stuff very early in the prologue that is reiterated later, and it felt like, yeah, I know.
Yeah.
You mentioned it earlier. We can move on.
Exactly.
But I wonder if that's because so much happens between those two things. They felt like they need to
true.
remind the audience about that, and so
Yeah, makes sense.
yeah, I really wonder.
What did you think of Camille Nanjiani's character? I hope I said that right.
You did.
Kumail.
Camille
Camille
Nanjiani,
Nanjiani, yeah.
I really love Camille Nanjiani. I think that he is a really unique comedic voice. I love just everything he's been a part of. I love what he is in those things. And The Big Sick, which is a film that he co-wrote.
So good.
Yeah, it's a great movie.
Yeah, it's such a wonderful, wonderful movie, and the story of found family. Anyway, it's a fantastic movie. He's a fantastic comedian, and I felt that he was a very welcome addition. I would say that his character's abilities sort of change a little bit about what kind of world Ghostbusters takes place in.
Yeah.
A little bit.
A little bit.
I
I totally, yeah. I mean,
Yeah, but it's definitely something that would be totally in line with one of the animated series.
True.
And so, I ultimately, like, it's like, oh, okay, that's interesting. Okay, all right. I guess we're going to see where this goes. But it did take a little bit of adjusting. But ultimately, I liked that he's this kind of just freeloading, sort of like low level. I don't want to say con artist, but he's kind of a
bit of a hustler.
Yeah, he's awesome.
He's a hustler. There you
Yeah.
go. He's a hustler. I like that aspect to him, and it's like the hustler has to rise to the occasion and do something selfless. It's like, all right, I dug that.
Yeah, his first scene with Ray when he's trying to offload the box of stuff,
Yeah.
I thought was really well done. Like his delivery of certain things, like the under the breath, like $40, $50. Like I really dug that.
60.
Yeah, it's so well done. Like
Yeah.
you're gonna check it with your PKA. Thanks for asking. I thought that was
Nobody's
great.
ever asked that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I liked all that stuff. I thought that was really good. The reveal of this isn't too much of a spoiler. It's in the trailer. The reveal of like the secret room.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
And he's just like, I don't know. This stuff is it's kind of worthless.
Yeah.
But it has a lot of sentimental value. I couldn't possibly part with it for anything less than $60. But part of it is like, I don't know, man. Like you can probably get 80, 90 for that.
Right.
Yeah.
It's all brass, dude. Yeah.
Yeah, it's all brass.
What did you think of the main villain?
Garaka.
Garaka, yeah.
Garaka. Spooky.
Yes,
I actually
very much so.
thought he was really well handled.
Yeah.
Looks great. Again, my only problem is we don't really see him until the end.
Yeah.
And then the movie kind of speed runs through everything he's capable of till all the way through the very end of the film. And I just would have liked that if he had sort of like Vigo, like it felt like they were treating him like Gozer, where Gozer is kind of behind the scenes. He's they're mentioned but not really fully explored until they are revealed in the very end of the film.
Right.
Yeah.
I kind of felt like Garaka should have been treated more like Vigo, where they're sprinkled in kind of throughout the movie.
Yeah.
And they're a presence that is gathering power. They're not at their most powerful yet, but they can still wield influence, and they do. And then when we finally get to the third act, that's when they're at their height of their power.
Yeah.
But they're more or less like introduced, seen, explored, and dealt with very quickly.
Yeah.
And it like so much so that I think that's where the pacing of the movie kind of hurt it, where the threat didn't seem as big as maybe the movie was building towards.
Right.
Because the Garaka was kind of newsflash, everybody. The villain was defeated.
Yeah. That's a big spoiler,
but it was a little bit like playing a video game on story mode.
Oh yeah.
It's a good way to put it.
Yeah, it didn't really feel like Garaka was much of a challenge for the Ghostbusters in the end.
I think that was the
biggest challenge was storage.
Yeah.
Exactly.
That's the thread of the movie. Yeah.
I mean, that's a relatable thing today. If you have a PS5 and
you always
and
too much stuff.
Storage is an issue.
Classic Sony. We're gonna burn through that storage. Come on.
That's so funny.
Well, there was a weird part in there too, where Garaka just happens to stop by like a smoke shop. And it says the fire starter, and he blasts a guy.
Yeah.
We
don't, if you want to get into spoilers,
we can do spoilers, whatever. We'll let them know that there's spoilers coming up.
I think that scene was meant to be because they didn't establish it earlier, but I think it was implied that smoke shop is sort of the bottom floor to the apartment.
Yeah.
Oh, is that what that?
That's
Okay,
what
see,
I-
that's what
the
I
next
was
scene
seeing.
he's up getting the horns.
Oh, okay. See, okay, because I didn't get it. I was like, what? It seemed like the
it's kind of random,
like the original movie where what's his name was walking around asking, "Are you the keymaster to random people? Are you the keymaster?"
Yeah.
That's. I think that was kind of a throwback to that.
Kana.
Yeah,
taking out
It's
different
definitely
circles.
meant to echo that, but I think that they could have done a better job of kind of showing that
the
that's
geography
the same
of the place.
building
Yeah.
where
Yeah.
Kumail's Nanjiani's character lived.
Okay, see, I
'cause
kind of
think
get
that's
it.
the implication, is that it's the same building.
Right.
Yeah.
And just kind of to go back to the Garaka Garaka problem. It's not really a problem, but I feel like Gozer and Vigo definitely has a personality. Like
Yeah.
you felt threatened by them. Garaka has a great look. I think it's a fantastic looking monster, but I didn't get a sense of personality or anything really other than I'm a creepy big guy with horns.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
I agree with that, but because I think it was because, well, especially comparing it to Vigo,
Right.
he had someone to talk to, which was Janos.
Yeah.
And we only heard the one side of the conversation with Garaka when
Right.
he's talking to,
Yeah.
or we get the sense of it through
And
images.
yeah, I mean, like
obviously.
you're seeing other entities, other ghosts get scared by, when like the orb is around. You see like the little mini puffs,
Yeah, no.
like freak out and stuff.
Yeah, they get scared. Yeah.
But other than that, there's no there's no real indication that this thing could really mess you up. I don't know.
Yeah. There is the sub-villain.
Yes,
Character.
I didn't want to get into that until spoilers.
I mean, we
stuff,
could-
but
Spoilers,
can-
it's fine. We're gonna
It's
spoil.
like right now, hey,
Stan doesn't care.
hey,
don't care.
hey guys, we're going to jump into spoilers
Yeah.
right
So I'm going to say we're recommending this movie at this point.
Yes.
But if you
Yes.
don't want to be spoiled by anything, move along.
Movies out
Or
close enough.
pause and come back.
Yeah.
Or zoom ahead. We're gonna get
Yeah.
we'll get to other stuff.
I'll give you a nice little radio sting.
Yes.
You're now entering the spoiler zone.
Yeah, I love it.
There we go.
Yeah.
Add some air horns.
The relationship that there's a character, the main character has a relationship with, not a relationship, but it's a friendship with a ghost.
Right? Yeah. Phoebe befriends a
Phoebe,
ghost, Melody.
Yeah,
Melody, that's it.
who was
Yeah.
killed in a tenement fire, she claims.
Right.
And she's kind of on.
She's
kind of
constantly
on
on fire. Yeah.
Yeah.
She's got like flames.
Looks
coming
like
off her-
Selma Blair
off her-
from Hellboy when
Yeah.
she's ablaze.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It was
that's
it was
what
the
it
only part of the
Fiery
movie that-
force ghost.
It was
Yeah.
the only part of me to me of the movie that kind of felt a little off. It's like what's happening? Like she goes to a park and then she wants to play chess by herself, and the ghost starts. And
See,
obviously
now-
she was sent by Garaka, I guess, to infiltrate her somehow.
Yeah.
To get into the lab that Winston is funding. It seemed
Yeah.
very disjointed to me.
Well, okay, so I liked when she's playing chess. It did remind me a lot of Afterlife because she was
Yeah.
playing chess
right by herself, yeah.
with Egon, and I
Right.
thought, oh, Egon's kind of coming back
That's what I
to
thought too.
Yeah.
spend time. And then when Melody shows up, you kind of see even Phoebe going like, oh, you're not who I expected.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so I was
You know-
like, all right, I'm with it at that point.
Yeah. You know what I again, I want to give the filmmakers benefit of the doubt, is I think this was intended, but ultimately probably left on the cutting room floor, was that this is how Phoebe decompresses and how she handles stress is she
Yeah.
goes to the park, she sets up a chessboard, and I think she just plays this isn't a euphemism. I think she just plays against herself. I was going to say she plays with
Right,
herself.
Yeah.
She plays. I think she plays against herself because it was
Yeah.
the thing that bonded her with Egon was
Exactly.
playing
Yes.
a
Yeah.
little chess set, and so I always kind of imagined that this was
That would have been a
This
good
was
setup
her.
if you saw that in another scene, a prior scene, like her dealing with her stress by herself.
exactly. I
Yeah.
wanted to see the scene of her there, and no one shows up. Like
Right.
no
Yeah.
ghost entity or anything at all. She just starts to play,
Oh, see, that's
and then she
good.
just kind of slumps her heads down, and she's just like, "I really miss you." Something like
Yeah.
a line like
Yeah.
that.
To
Just to say
show
that
she's
she is
longing for
reaching out
yeah.
into the world. She's
Right.
longing for a connection that
Yeah.
supports her, because she's having, the bureaucracy of Peck being the mayor.
Yeah.
Yeah. I like that dynamic. I know everybody's
Right.
like, how does an EPA agent get to be mayor? I don't know. He runs a successful
Yeah.
campaign.
Yeah.
That's how politics
Anyone
is.
could be mayor.
Well, we've had
Yeah.
weird people be president, so
Yeah. Ew. So she feels kind of shot down by the
Right.
bureaucracy, and then her own family, the three people she trusts most in the world,
Mm-hmm.
Gary and her mom, Callie, they essentially ground her from doing it.
Right.
Yeah.
But not because they don't trust her. It's just because their hands are kind of tied. They
Yeah.
have
Yeah.
to. And then Trevor, he's 18. He's doing his own thing. He doesn't. It's not that he doesn't care. It's just that it's not really on his radar.
Yeah,
true.
And she feels isolated. She feels alone.
Exactly.
And the environment has forced isolation on her.
Mm-hmm.
And in Afterlife, when she feels alone, those are those moments when she connects with Egon through the chess set. And so, having her play chess in the park to no one, and no one shows up, and just having her kind of slump her head, and she doesn't have to say anything really, but if you want to like lay it on, you just have her say something like, "I just wish I knew what to do."
Or are you there?
Something like that.
Yeah.
And then she's passed over again, goes back to the park, plays, and now this time the pieces play back, and she's like, "What?" And then Melody appears, and she goes, "Oh, sorry, I was expecting someone else."
Right.
Yeah.
And now you have this, because ultimately the story, I feel, with Phoebe is that she's in this place of isolation that's been imposed by, the bureaucracy of the county, or the city, rather. And then, ultimately her parental figures don't really know the best way to address it. Gary is struggling with it because he's not quite sure where he fits in the parental structure. And so Phoebe's just kind of left to wander, and she has to confide in someone, and it's very clear she doesn't really have a whole lot of friends other than Podcast. And I think she probably feels that Podcast can't really relate because he's got a supportive mentor in Ray, and he's doing everything he loves. So she doesn't really feel that connection is going to understand. And so just somebody who lends an ear and earns that trust with her, like Melody, I think is what the intention was. And I totally get why she would start hanging out with this ghost girl. I do think that I get the sense that dynamic, especially as the movie keeps going, leans a little bit more into the teenage romance kind of thing.
Yeah. It seemed like it was.
Like a crush. And I thought it worked pretty well. I just wish that the setup had been given the room to breathe a little bit more, so that when the, spoiler alert, turns out Melody is working for Garaka, when that turn comes, it has that deeper emotional betrayal. But the movie's, like we were pointing out, the movie's only 2 hours, and it's got a lot to do. Fortunately, I think the setup kind of it's there, but it's not as strong as I think it could have been. But it, at the end of the day, it worked all right for me. I don't know. What did you guys think?
I felt with the relationship, I felt it needed more instances of connection with each. Like, I wanted them to meet more than the twice they kind of got together.
Right.
But obviously, you have so much of a movie that you can cover that in, and it would be hard to bring her in story-wise to the firehouse, because what I was thinking while watching it, I was like, this kind of relationship seems, I know they're going one way to it, but if they went the Slimer route with how Slimer was a friend and pet, he would always give kisses and hug the Ghostbusters.
Oh, that'd be good.
So I was like, the Slimer could have been her friend, but I know they wanted to go this route with her character and give her a little bit more dramatic evolution and stuff. So
if Slimer was the turncoat?
Well, no. I mean, that's been a plot line in the show, the cartoons, where Samael, the pumpkin, he got locked up in the containment unit and made an army of ghosts. And I thought that was what was going to happen with Garaka. They would suck him out of the orb, and then that's where he wanted to be, and he got all the ghosts.
That makes that was a bit of the plot that I was rubbing up against. Was they're saying this whole Garaka needs an army of ghosts, and I'm like, but why? He seems to be doing all right without him.
Yeah.
Like he's frozen up half of New York without using, getting to the containment unit.
I think it was obviously he knows what year it is, but he doesn't know how many fire starters there are. I guess there could be.
I guess,
a
yeah,
chance
and I like the idea. They say pretty early on that the reason they buy the firehouse is it's this
It's an antenna, isn't it?
it's a point. Yeah, it's like it's the what they say. It's the dam in the river. It's the between the dimensional worlds,
Yeah, right.
and that's
It's
why.
the finger plugging the hole.
Thank
in
you.
the
Yes.
space.
It's a great
Yeah.
line.
Yeah.
So I was like, okay, that makes it this kind of focal point for the movie of like, and if there was some reason like Garaka had to reach that point, other than getting an army of ghosts, which I thought was kind of, a soft excuse for the finale to end up there, because he ended up breaking out all the ghosts and then not really using them; they just take
They
off.
just fly off, yeah.
Yeah. I was actually a little confused because we saw New York City get covered in ice.
Yeah.
But then it cuts to, like, people in the city just kind of looking around.
Yeah,
And I was
Right.
like, everybody seems to be doing all right. Like,
Yeah.
this just kind of seems like a mild inconvenience for the city.
I really,
Yeah,
I going in and watching the trailer, I definitely had a thought that, this is going to be everyone gets frozen and they have to
Yeah.
kind of defeat the bad guy to revert everyone.
Yeah, exactly.
Because we
Yeah,
see in the
that's what I thought it
trailer,
was
Right,
gonna
yeah.
be, too.
even in the trailer, there's that one scene of Lucky getting frozen.
Yeah.
And you see like her eye freeze
It
up.
wasn't like her tear freezes.
Yeah. And I was like,
Yeah,
that's
her,
terrifying.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
like she ends up being okay in the movie. Like they
Yeah,
cut
well,
and
that
like
was-
she's just wearing the jacket.
That was
I
the other
think-
weird thing was people were literally frozen solid, and then they're just kind of
Yeah.
okay. It's like, well, they'd get some pretty bad frostbite there.
Well, lucky.
Or die.
Or
Right.
die.
Or yeah.
Well, I mean, the
best
the,
case scenario is frostbite.
Which
yeah.
by
the smoke shop owner, he died, obviously.
Yeah.
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 But
But
Well, he got shattered, right? So
Yeah.
they also introduced this idea that the death chill, the power to kill,
Yes.
with fear
Right.
itself, and that introduces the idea of. I mean, it plays into I ain't afraid of no ghost, which is
Yeah.
great.
Ah.
But it also, like, at no point does the emotional aspect of fear ever
Right.
really come into play.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And that's where I think there's a bit of a missed up, and maybe it's on the cutting room floor. Who knows?
That's,
But I really thought they were going to do something with the jackets.
yeah,
Yeah, me
That's not to
too.
say that. That's not to say that every piece of equipment introduced has to have a distinct story point to it necessarily. Like an updated stormtrooper outfit.
Right.
It's like sometimes you just make a new stormtrooper because you got to sell some more toys.
Right.
Baby.
yeah.
Yeah.
I get it. Keep the lights on.
we
but
got to
I
add
really
yellow
thought-
bumpers to stuff.
Yep.
Yeah. But this whole idea of fear itself is the thing that will do you in against Garaka. But when you're facing down a foe that is that terrifying, how do you defend yourself?
Yeah.
You know, just bold confidence from, Peter Venkman may not be enough.
Right.
Yeah.
And I really thought what they were going to do was basically have the jacket, because the jackets have a little, like, cyclotron.
Oh, you're right.
Yeah, I was wondering what that was. What is that light stuff?
Pocket.
Yeah.
So I thought that was going to be an emotional reader that
Ah.
that tapped into a mechanism that would fluctuate the lining of the jacket with mood slime. The
Wow.
positively
Because they
charged
they
mood
brought
slime
up mood slime
from
early in the
Ghostbusters
movie.
2.
Yeah.
Yeah,
'Cause they gave
They
a
even
sam-
mentioned the mood slime.
Yeah, they
at some
give a
point.
sample to Ray, and I was like,
Yeah.
"Oh, that's gonna play." Yeah, and you see someone getting hosed down with the
in
cannon.
the background.
Yeah.
yeah.
And
I
you're
really
right.
thought that. This
so
movie
good.
brings up Ghostbusters 2 multiple
I
times.
loved it.
Yeah.
as a
And
as a
really-
fan of that
I
one, I was
thought-
excited.
Yeah, I really thought, they're doing that to remind us that the mood slime is
Yeah.
positively charged. It has a purpose and a function that may come
Yeah.
into play later, and then it was just a fun Easter egg. And
Yeah.
that's fine, but again, I really feel like it's probably on the cutting room floor that the jackets are lined with mood slime to
Right.
help insulate your emotions
Yeah.
from fear.
That's so good.
But then
That's
again,
so good.
if that was the case, why wouldn't everybody be in one of those red parkas at
Right,
the end of the film?
True.
And because also the shot that was in that teaser trailer of all of them on the rooftop,
Yeah, that's.
Oh,
you know,
yeah.
that's not
Yes.
in the movie.
No, it's not.
either. So it really feels like there was a lot that was cut down in
Yeah.
reshoots
Yeah.
to make the movie 2 hours, and I
Very
understand the reasoning
interesting.
for that, but ultimately, I want to see the longer cut of.
Of course.
Yeah.
I think we all would, yeah.
I think it would address a lot of the. Yeah, I think it would address a lot of people's criticisms of the movie. But yeah, I really thought like line those jackets with mood slime, baby.
Yeah.
because that's
Yeah.
how you're gonna
So
save
good.
yourself
For-
from Garaka, and it just never came into play.
For the fear aspect of it, I could see it working through Garaka's long like talons on his
Yeah,
hands.
yeah.
If he, as he released the ghost, if he like enters his finger in one of the ghosts to
Does what now?
I mean, he
fingers
punctures
one of the ghosts?
he punctures one of the ghosts,
Oh.
and it
I thought it was
gives
going
him
to get way sexier.
it gives those ghosts the ability to kill through fear.
Ah.
So those
Oh, yeah.
spread throughout the city
Oh.
can.
Oh, yeah.
So
There you
he's
go.
not really.
So he's like infecting the
Yeah,
ghosts.
he's
That makes sense,
in
yeah.
that sense. So that's why, like in the trailer, when we see the sea dragon,
Right.
I thought he was blue because of him,
Oh,
and I was like,
right.
oh, that's interesting to see. But
Yeah, I thought
That's real
the
interesting.
yeah,
I thought more of like the getting his horns was going to be a bigger part. Like I
True.
thought those were going to be like somewhere in the firehouse maybe or something.
No.
Other than the closet, Nana's secret
oh, yeah.
closet of good stuff.
Her sex closet.
Anna's,
As
Anna's
his-
secret sex dungeon.
I love that. That was good.
or a museum. It could have
Which
been a museum.
I mean, do we
Belongs
want-
in a museum.
You know what's really weird was they made such a point that Garaka's power stemmed from his horns.
right?
true.
Yes.
He seemed to have quite a bit of power without them.
Without,
Right,
yeah.
And when he got them, it definitely looked really cool. It gives him a really signature
Yeah.
silhouette.
Yeah.
But other than that, I kind of felt like this character is already pretty powerful. Like,
Yeah.
True.
I don't see the difference between him with or without the horns.
Right,
really.
Yeah.
right.
Right.
And
Right.
he just seems like a really friggin' powerful spirit, regardless of his horns or not.
Mm-hmm.
So again, I feel like that's all stuff that's in the cutting room
know.
floor.
Yeah.
It's such a shame.
I could see the horns being a weakness. Like if it did make him that powerful, if they aimed for his horns, like aim for the
Oh yeah.
horny
Yeah,
head
knock-
or
turn
some,
them
you
off
know,
and off,
some
yeah.
kind of phrase that
Aim for
Venkman
the
would say.
tip.
Yeah, aim for the tip. There you go.
Just the tip. Just the tip.
Yeah.
And like
Just see
if
how
they
it feels.
blast those off, then he's weakened, so
Yeah.
he can't fight against the
That makes sense.
the
Yeah.
streams.
Oh
Yeah.
man. I thought we were gonna get a Lewis Tully cameo.
Yeah.
I thought so too,
really
man.
was
I was so
excited.
well
I
when they
wanted
said I know a guy who can help us. I was like, oh shit.
Yeah.
Is this him? And then, but then I remembered that we haven't seen.
Penn.
Yeah, we hadn't seen Patton yet. So
Yeah.
I was like, oh well.
Yeah.
There's one thing I really wanted at the beginning of this movie, because I love that they had the flashback to explain, Garaka's.
Oh, the
or-
19.
yeah,
was it 1910 or?
1913, I think. I want to say that was.
I think it was 1904.
There we go.
Yeah.
That's probably yeah.
I'm gonna take his word.
Yeah,
for it.
no, same here.
I think it was 1904. I
Yeah.
could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure that's
The
what it
Manhattan's
was.
Explorers or
Yeah,
Yeah.
I love that.
I felt that,
was a great
it
opening.
was so because like the cartoon would show flashbacks of like when the demon was strong, or of
Or-
whatever the
Yeah,
monster
yeah.
of the week was,
Yeah.
and I was like, that's great. But then I thought it was gonna how 1 and 2 start with the someone gets scared and then the Ghostbusters logo comes in and we hear the song Ghostbusters, and we didn't get that, and I was like, again they didn't do it again. So I really wanted it this
Well, we
time.
got the classic logo coming up.
No, we
and
did,
everything.
but we didn't have the music.
So I'm going to ape off your point there. So I said the first act of the film, the first like 35, 40 minutes,
Yeah.
was really great, and that I had a minor nitpick. That was my minor nitpick.
Yeah.
Was that it goes from this really creepy prologue,
Mm-hmm.
and then the logo comes up, and it's like, oh, here we go.
Yep.
Da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da. And then we're going to go right from the theme song into the action sequence of the Ecto one, like
Yes.
swinging around corners and
Yes.
stuff. And it's just score.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's not a knock on the score.
No.
The score is quite good.
Yes.
I think the score is actually better in this movie than it was in Afterlife.
I agree.
Agreed.
Yeah.
Agreed.
They didn't lean on the GB1 compositions
Yeah.
nearly as much. A lot more original stuff, and it worked really, really well. but I felt like that whole sequence was cut. It was edited to the Ray Parker Jr. song, and then at the last minute they took it out and put score in, and I really felt like, oh no, this is when you want to hype us up.
Exactly.
The
Yes.
adventure that's
Everybody's
to come,
excited,
because Ghostbusters 1 starts that way, Ghostbusters 2 starts that way. Afterlife had a lot more of a somber start, so I get why that one didn't do it.
Exactly.
Grandfather's dead.
Yeah.
But even Ghostbusters Answer the Call started with a creepy prologue going into the theme song.
Yeah.
I don't really care for how that was cut together either. But I felt like this is the one, because this is ultimately, I think, the sequel that every Ghostbusters fan has been dying to see since the original.
Yeah.
I want to see, at the start of the movie, they're already in business. They're already working. What do you do with it when they're already doing it?
Yeah.
And that was my first, little nitpick was, you should have used the Ghostbusters theme right here. You should have used it right here.
Matt, what do you think about? Some people have said that this is a better sequel to Ghostbusters 2 than Afterlife was. Do you agree with that?
To a certain, let me say that I get that sentiment. I don't know if I agree, and maybe this is just my sensibilities as a storyteller and as someone who really loves Jason Reitman as a filmmaker. I liked the small town aspect to Ghostbusters Afterlife. Now, I will say that tonally, it is a big shift from Ghostbusters 1 and 2.
Yes.
Because it's a lot more somber of a film. It's a lot more slowly paced. It's more deeply emotional, or more, maybe not deeply, but more subtle in its emotion. And it's a more heartfelt kind of film that has a very personal, that is something personal to say from the filmmaker about Harold Ramis, and then, subsequently, his Jason Reitman's father, the late great Ivan Reitman.
Yes.
And so ultimately, I think that movie, it is a Jason Reitman movie, and it has that really heartfelt tone that, not to say that Ghostbusters doesn't have a heart, but I would not describe those films as emotional. As a fan, we might get emotional watching it, but I don't think those films really have a deep emotional core that is about human drama.
Right.
They are plot-driven science fiction comedies.
Yeah.
I wouldn't describe Ghostbusters Afterlife as a science fiction comedy. I actually would call it more of like a family dramedy.
Yeah.
With some sci-fi elements to it. I think that thematically and tonally, Frozen Empire is, yes, more of a sequel to Ghostbusters 2 than Afterlife was. But in terms of continuing the story, I think this takes place in a more succinct way, coming off the heels of Ghostbusters Afterlife than Ghostbusters 2.
Right.
Yeah.
Like, I think if you were to cut Ghostbusters Afterlife out of the equation, I don't know if this would make much sense.
Yeah,
true.
You'd be like, who are these people? And why are they ghostbusting and not Ray or Egon or Venkman or Winston?
Right.
Yeah, I think they meant the feel of it. I think because some of our friends have said that, so I think they meant the feel of it is more
totally more akin to that stuff.
Yeah,
for sure.
What did you think of the way the legacy characters were treated?
I thought they were all treated perfectly.
Yeah.
One thing that I will give this new era of the franchise is I love that they are giving Winston the role that they are giving him, because unfortunately Ernie Hudson has kind of been shortchanged at every turn with this franchise.
Yeah.
For those who may not know, Ernie auditioned to be Winston for the cartoon, and he was denied because they said he didn't sound enough like the character. And it's like, what are you talking about? He is that character.
Yeah, it's yeah.
And his role apparently was much bigger in the original production draft of Ghostbusters, the original.
Yeah.
And then it was slowly dwindled away during shooting, and then it was even more so in the final cut.
Yeah.
And then the exact same thing happened in Ghostbusters 2. he was in it a lot more. The film was shot and they cut a lot of his scenes, and then the film is edited and they cut a lot of those scenes out again. And he just kind of ends up being there for most of Ghostbusters 2.
Yeah.
And so making him sort of the Tony Stark of this Ghostbusters
that's a great way
Avengers
to put
team,
it.
Yeah.
I think is a great call. It's like, yes, give Winston and by virtue Ernie Hudson, give him his dues, because
Yeah.
he has earned it, man.
Yeah.
He has been such a champion of this franchise since day one. Give this to him. And I thought that was handled well. I don't know why Janine was there in this movie.
It seemed a little,
Happy
Isn't
to
she-
see her, but
Yeah.
I don't know why she's there.
She's the
for a lot
property
of it.
manager or
It was
something like
it was
that?
very member berries, but I was okay with it because she's a legacy character and we
Well,
all loved
yeah.
her. So, but yeah, it was just kind of just shoehorned in there, and I was like, okay,
Yeah.
I guess I'll take it.
Yeah. And I like that they bring Venkman in to do the
Oh, yeah.
subject interviews, because he just has a tendency to just irritate people.
Did you see the kid with the possible walking around their head in the theater?
No, I didn't
Yeah.
see that.
Yeah, there was a kid with the possible with all the wiring.
Yes,
Yeah, it
that
was
is,
great.
that was the daughter of one of our members.
Oh,
Oh,
great.
that's
Okay,
awesome.
cool. Yeah.
That I did see.
It was so well done. I saw.
Yeah.
I looked at it. I was like, "Oh man, that looks great." Yeah.
Yeah, really, really well done. I think Johnny and Jen Lawler made that. And
Okay.
Wow.
They're wonderful. They're new additions to the crew.
That's
that's
awesome.
great.
Nice.
It's awesome.
I thought Janine.
I will say, and I know that I would probably be crucified by the Ghostbusters community to say this, but I'm going to say it anyway. I think it's time to retire the old crew.
Yeah.
And I don't
dare
mean kill
you.
them off or anything like that. I think Ray has a part to play. I
Yeah.
love that he was given sort of his last little bit of glory in this
Yeah.
movie. And
Yes.
they let him have that. Great. I think if the movie does well, which I hope it does, and I hope we get at least one more of these, I think it's time to retire these characters for good.
Yeah.
Because I think that their presence, I don't think they ever, I saw some critics say that whenever they're on screen, they command the screen presence away from the new characters. I don't quite agree with that. But I do think that the film needs to trust that these new characters can carry this franchise. Because I
Right.
sincerely believe that they do.
Yeah.
And
Well,
that
there's
they can.
there's that great scene where you see the Ecto-1 drive by Ray's shop.
Yeah.
Oh,
And
yeah.
he has that smile on his face.
It was so
and I was
good.
like,
Love that.
Oh.
that's all you need.
gave me a lump in
like
my
you
throat.
can,
Yeah.
you know, that could have been the end for his character right there. Just him knowing that the Ghostbusters are continuing. You know.
Yeah.
So yeah, I totally agree.
I do have to say how great was it when Bill Murray walked into the station, and he immediately comes down, like you were just saying. He in that moment he did command the screen time, because he walks right over that electrical box. He's like, "Oh, it's great to be here again." And he slams it. And
Oh, grabs his
there's a liquor
drink.
bottle in there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's great.
Anybody want any courage?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it did
Yeah,
kind of feel like they just kind of plucked him and
Yeah,
like we need to have him in the movie for reasons.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Pretty much.
So he shows up for the final fight again,
Yeah.
like after Afterlife. They're pretty much doing the same beat from Afterlife.
You were gonna say something about Janine, Shed?
Oh no, yeah.
Yeah, he
I was
was.
just saying, Janine. In my head, Janine was sort of Winston's secretary that worked at the bigger company.
It did seem
you
like
know,
that.
but she was more hands on, obviously, than
Right.
just
Yeah.
answering phones or anything like that.
She was like the COO or something.
in
Yeah.
the trailer.
Yeah,
they have her answer the phone yet again.
Ghostbusters, what do you want?
Yeah.
Oh
they-
yeah, that's true.
they-
Yeah.
which got
that's
cut.
not
So-
the
Well,
movie.
for a moment, I thought Phoebe
Was
was
gonna
gonna
do that.
do it when she picked up the phone,
That would've been
and I was
great.
like, oh,
That'd
that
been great.
That would have been a great little scene, but obviously,
Yeah, just have her answer the phone, being all frustrated, like, "Oh,
Yeah.
Ghostbusters, what do you want?"
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
in a sense, like since she was benched, I would see like, oh, that's being benched. You answer the
Right.
phones or something.
Yeah.
So it was like, oh, that.
Yeah, that's your punishment.
Yeah.
oh,
That'd
that
be
would have been good.
There's certain things that I thought, like I like the character podcast, I like the character Lucky, but I felt they were kind of forced in this movie
Yeah.
where they didn't need to be.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah,
and it's like if anyone's going to be working in the lab, shouldn't it be Phoebe and not Lucky?
True.
Like
Right.
I didn't know if Lucky wasn't like the tech expert in Afterlife.
No.
So I didn't know what she was doing in the research division.
That's true.
Yeah,
You know?
I think they said that there's a line where she's like, "Oh yeah, I'm interning this
Yeah.
summer."
Right,
And that's
right.
Yeah.
Okay. I love that like podcast is doing this like YouTube series with
With
Ray.
Ray,
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
did like that. Yeah,
This YouTube version of Spooky Antiques Roadshow.
It was great. Yeah.
That's so brilliant. I wanted to see a little bit more of that.
yeah,
I actually would have loved to have seen that. That's where Camille Nanjiani's character brings the
Yeah.
thing.
yeah.
It's put it
That would
on the
make
show,
sense.
and then like Ray sees that something happens, and he goes, "Cut the camera," and they,
Right.
they go, "Where did you get this?"
Right. Or like,
I love the line. My producer's telling me to tell you to like and subscribe.
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought all that was really funny. Really
Yeah.
well done.
Yeah.
and
but
yeah,
yeah,
the haunted objects thing. I feel that was definitely Dan Aykroyd kind of probably brought that onto
yeah.
the script.
Yeah.
Yeah, but yeah, I do agree that like of all the characters, the two that are given nothing to do, in the sense that they don't have any. It's not that they don't have anything to physically do. It's more that they don't have any responsibilities when
Right,
it comes to
yeah.
the plot. They don't lift any scene in terms of the drama, in terms of the comedy. Is Podcast and Lucky.
Yeah.
And I hate to say that because Podcast is my new favorite character from Afterlife. I
Yeah.
absolutely love Logan Kim. I think he is so
He's
talented.
great in
Very,
Afterlife.
very, very good, talented actor. Yeah.
I mean, it's to some regard, I'd say the same with Trevor and Callie. I don't feel they did really. I mean, I give Trevor this kind of subplot of trying to find Slimer,
Yeah.
but then it doesn't really go anywhere.
Yeah.
Yeah, I will say that. So the Slimer scenes, I loved watching them because I love the dynamic that Slimer lives in the firehouse
Yeah.
from the cartoon.
Yes.
Yeah.
And it doesn't matter why. Who cares?
Yeah.
It does.
Exactly.
I love that he's like their little like the rat living in the,
Yeah.
in the attic, and they can't get rid of him. So I guess he lives here now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I loved the little antagonistic relationship he has with Venkman in the cartoon.
Right.
Like Egon, we have to have a talk about the Spud.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a good Venkman.
Yeah, that was great.
That was good
Experiments. Stuff like that. I think is so much fun. And so I like those scenes a lot with Trevor. I think they're fun. But also, you could cut them, and I don't know if you lose anything.
Right.
True.
Right.
And so,
But then we'll never know Trevor's
Yeah.
18, guys.
Yeah.
He only says it like 3 times in the movie.
yeah. But then, we're in spoiler territory. But
Yeah.
I think the only reason why they kept them is because when the possessor possesses the pizza in that finale
Right.
kind of showdown,
Yeah.
Slimer eats the pizza.
That's
True.
right. That's right. So you have to
Yeah.
kind of establish he's there.
You have to establish he's there.
Yeah.
And, I kind of felt like you could have had that little adventure happening alongside everything else. But just like, I don't know how familiar you guys are with the movie Gremlins.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Of course.
Definitely.
Come on.
Okay.
Who are you talking to?
All right. One of the best things about that movie is that there are so many little side adventures happening in the background.
Yeah.
Yep.
Especially when we see the Inventor Fair.
Oh yeah.
There's a whole story, like the time traveling machine from the movie The Time Machine is
Yeah.
back there. We cut away and then we cut back and it's gone. It's
Yeah.
just like there's smoke and
Yeah.
everybody's like looking around like they don't know what to do. I think that should have been happening in the background of the movie. And maybe it was, and again, it's on the cutting room floor.
Yeah.
Right.
But like Trevor constantly running up and down stairs.
Yeah.
And you just hear like Slimer just like going by and like, Trevor, will you just trap the thing already? What do you think I'm trying to do? And
Yeah. I like that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like,
That would've been good,
that
yeah.
could have been a
I-
really good, strong story for him of like kind of befriending Slimer.
Yeah.
Yes. Oh my gosh. And at the end, like he just like Trevor gets like, I don't know, maybe Trevor has a little side thing because he's got a little crush on Lucky.
Yeah.
Maybe Lucky
yeah.
kind of shoots him down and he goes upstairs to the attic. He's got his trap, he's got his proton pack, but he just slumps on the floor, opens a bag of Cheetos, sets the bag down, and he's just sitting there, just kind of sullen. And then Slimer rocks up next to him and just starts eating the Cheetos with him.
Yeah.
And he just had
That's great.
this sweet little moment, and he looks over at Slimer. Slimer looks at him, and they just go, "Rough day."
Yeah.
And
it would have been
Just have this little
awesome.
bonding moment.
In the final scene, you could see because they've developed this friendship. Slimer helps him out.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, I know that guy.
Yeah.
The like I love that because with the previous scene of him like having a trail of Cheetos for him to come out and like that, I could see that scene you described, but instead of Finn opening the Cheetos from off the screen, you see Slimer's hand offering some Cheetos to him.
Oh, that would have been so like the bag just kind of leans into frame.
Yeah, exactly.
And he just like looks at it and it's Slimer like,
and he goes,
yeah, little ET moment.
Yeah, like, thanks, man.
That's great.
It's been a long day.
Great. Yeah,
I think something like that. But again, who's to say they may have shot all of this?
That's true.
Stuff
that would have been what, like a 30, 40 second scene, which would have.
Right.
I did want to bring up though.
Release the gill cut.
Yeah.
Yes.
Now for Slimer's look, obviously there's two different looks from the first movie and then the second movie. He's much bigger. I'm obviously biased to the second movie's look because I just like how he's like and just he's driving a bus and just but I like that they did shrink him.
You had your license.
Yeah, exactly. So I thought they could have kept him that big because he's a ghost. He could just go through objects. It wouldn't matter. But I understand smaller is better because it's a little more fun.
Cuter.
Yeah, it's cuter. Yeah. But were you glad he went back to his original look, or?
For me, I felt that Slimer has never looked consistent, like in any medium.
That's true.
I still think that in this movie he looks cool. I think they found a happy medium between the onion head Slimer of the first film and then Ghostbusters 2 Slimer.
Yeah.
I think that they found a nice middle ground where he kind of looks like his shape is overall the first onion head Slimer.
Yeah.
But his eyes and kind of his nose are a little bit
I saw
more,
that. Yeah.
I saw because I thought the eyes were more the animated look kind of thing.
They did seem like
because they got they got a little bit more animated, but maybe that was just because it's a CGI thing versus a puppet now.
Yeah.
True.
Yeah. Well, the animated Slimer had two little buck teeth on the sides of his.
Yeah.
Of his
oh, you're right.
face.
Yeah.
And then he had one lower tooth that would stick up when
Yeah.
he closed his mouth. And the toys, they're for those who don't know, Hasbro did a run of these blind box figurines of Slimer and the Mini Puffs. And the Slimer in those blind box toys looks like dead on to the animated series Slimer. So,
Man.
That's awesome.
So I think that they probably drew a little bit of the real Ghostbusters Slimer in there, just a little bit.
Yeah.
I think that he's definitely bigger than he was in the original.
That is true.
Oh, sure.
I will say,
Sure.
And I guess food doesn't pass through him anymore. He's eating a.
No, it passes through.
Yeah.
Oh, it does when he's eating the Cheetos.
He's eating the Cheetos. If you watch, they're passing through.
Oh man.
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't see that. Yeah.
Yeah, they do get crunched, but then they drop to the bottom.
Ah, okay. All right.
What did you guys think of the final battle? I thought it was really cool that you got the legacy characters all at once pulling on the handle of the containment unit.
Oh,
remember?
right. To use as a giant trap.
Yeah, and they all have to.
I like that.
They all have
idea.
to put their hands together and pull it down the handle. I love that part.
I mean, are we gonna? The fire bending.
Yeah, we're already there. Just
Can we
go
talk
ahead.
about it?
Yeah.
I mean,
at that point, we already kind of knew that's where it was going to go.
Right.
I think the moment where I had a feeling that's where it was going to go was when he redirects the
proton laser. Yeah.
The possessor trying to blast them with the proton stream.
Right.
And I was like, well, it's not fire and proton streams aren't the same thing. But
that was weird. Yeah.
So
and to go from he could barely light a candle to being able to bend plasma.
Well,
I think we just have to give that to the whole a mother can lift a car to save a child in the most emotional, dire moments.
Well, I personally thought that because there was a point where he was sitting at the desk and then he looks down at the bag with the armor, and I was like, oh, maybe the arbor has a boost, like a power boost to
brass
it.
and
So I thought that was going to be the case, maybe, but
it's just armor.
Yeah.
I was actually really curious. So Phoebe's upgrades, the bronze plating.
We got to ask you about this equipment. Yeah,
we'll get to a tech thing because the
bronze plating of the cyclotron. I just don't understand how that works.
Mm.
You know, I don't understand why that altered the proton stream to be like a green flaring of multiple streams.
Right,
True.
right.
Maybe that's because there wasn't a focused barrel at the end of it. I don't know. That it looks cool, but I was just kind of like, wow. Maybe it's because I have too much intimate knowledge of how these things work because we've built so many of them in our group. But I was just like, I don't understand why that significantly changes how the proton pack stream works.
Right.
Yeah.
If you, I mean, she says she was gonna brass dip multiple components, right? So maybe there was something in the thrower got dipped as well. I don't know.
Yeah.
Probably, but again, I don't know. But, well, they did say that brass was always considered like, it was considered a magical element.
Yeah.
It's like, okay. But it's not actually, like, maybe it has a magical resonance with ghosts, but when put into a scientific particle accelerator, I don't think brass would do much of anything.
Right. It wouldn't change. Yeah. It wouldn't change too much from, like, basically, because you're just, she was taking like copper elements and dipping them into brass, right?
Yeah. I don't know what difference that really makes. But then again, I'm not a metallurgist, so
right? Exactly.
It's true.
Maybe,
it makes your pack spark.
Just get in the comments.
Yeah.
So we got to get to some of the gear and the tech that was in this movie.
Mm-hmm.
What did you guys think about that, or what did you think about that? And are you or anybody you know going to start incorporating any of this new stuff that we saw?
How many drones did you buy?
Yeah, how many drones are you going to make? Yeah.
Oh my God, guys, so many drones.
Drone trap is cool.
My new favorite piece of tech is still the remote trap vehicle from Afterlife.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I just dubbed him Trappy because he's just perfect, and I love it. They gave it like a little bit of a personality.
Yeah.
I was sad Trappy was sidelined.
He's
mostly
very sidelined.
Yeah.
Droney, the drone trap, super cool, and a total of course that's the next step up for remote trapping. Of course you're going to do a drone. Thought that was really cool. We do have a couple members who have upgraded their packs with the caution striped power cell.
I saw that
the yellow thonged bumper, and the I don't know what you would call it, the metal caging of the neutrino wand tip.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I did. I a couple members of our group have already kind of implemented those upgrades. I'm still the new proton packs. I actually like the splash of color. I've always kind of felt the proton pack is a very delicate balance of color because it all depends on how you light it. In some lighting situations, it just looks like a big black rectangle on their backs with a little bit of blue and red coming from the lights. But I think when you texture it well and you light it well, that's one thing I loved about the Afterlife pack was it had this kind of greasy falling apartness to it where it had just enough color to give every edge of it some dimension. And these ones, I love the gold, the yellow splashes of color on there. I just think it really makes some of that tech pop. I love the curve of the ion tower at the top.
Oh, yeah.
Because we did an event in October with the guys at MetaQuest and the release of the Ghostbusters Rise of the Ghost Lord game. And we had all these influencers, and we had to teach them how to be Ghostbusters. And so, we suited them up with proton packs. They were the full-size spirit packs. And what's great about those packs is they're incredibly lightweight.
Yeah.
The drawback is when you get someone who's very excited to be wearing it, they immediately want to turn and pose with it. And you have to remind them, you have about an extra 8 inches sticking off of your back, and I am right next to you. And you have almost hit several people in the face with the ion tower because it protrudes so far off the pack. Yeah. So I love that design of wrapping it around the booster tube.
Yeah.
I know that there were a lot of members in our group that say it's like, oh, I don't know about that. I'm like, I think that's a logical progression of the tech, in my opinion.
Yeah, I like it still has the basic shape. I mean, they didn't go all the way to like Extreme Ghostbusters packs, which I don't know if anyone remembers the Extreme Ghostbusters cartoon, but the packs were very different, and I think it kind of it puts people off when you go too far away from the source material. Because they could have been like, Apple-looking packs and been like,
Well, if you earn it, if you show the progression. So, like, this is a nice step up, and then, like, as the next movie comes along, they'll add something else or change it, modify it more.
I mean, the one
that's always been like Ivan and Jason Reitman's approach to the proton packs is they always need to feel like they were built in a garage.
Yeah.
And there was a commercial for Citrin, I believe, in Europe. I want to say 15, almost 20 years ago. I'm going to say 15 years ago because I don't know if I want to date myself that much. Where it was a Ghostbusters themed commercial about how much stuff you could put in the back of a new Citroen. And it had these, these women in sort of somewhat sexy light suit looking material. And they had these proton packs that looked like, imagine if you had crossed an iMac of the mid 2000s with that porcelain white acrylic. And the little lightning electricity ball things that you get at Spencer's Gifts. Like it was, imagine if those two had a baby and it was a backpack.
Oh, I see that. All right.
Yeah, those of you can online right now can look it up. It was a Citroen Ghostbusters commercial. It had its own little cover of the theme and everything.
Gotta Google it.
And I remember looking at that and thinking, if they ever make a Ghostbuster sequel, that's what it's going to look like, and it's going to be bad. And thankfully, no iteration of Ghostbusters has ever gone that route. And
like even Answer the Call, I think they redesigned everything, but they still. I mean, it kind of looked like the proton pack was just turned upside down for their version.
I had always kind of suspected because even the hose comes out the top right shoulder. And I had always kind of suspected that the guys who built the prop left it on the table and someone came in and said, beautiful, it's approved. And they put it on and someone was like, actually, it's upside down. And they go, what do you mean? And they go, nothing.
Yeah, it's great. It works. Yeah.
You said it's approved?
Yeah.
Great. Because I always felt like that looks a little off to me. That being said, I want to build one of those 2016 packs.
I was going to ask if it was something you would be interested in doing because I
love the look of it's not a cyclotron, it's called a synchrotron on that one. And I always loved that look, the Faraday cage and like this like sweeping red glow inside. I was thought that looked really cool. So I do want to build one of those.
There you go.
My only gripe with that was that they're not mounted on Alice frames.
Right.
But like the straps just come out of the motherboard.
Yeah.
And I've always just kind of felt like that'd be really hot on your back. You really want a little bit of a buffer.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so what or was there anything as far as like the new gear that really caught your attention?
I was really hoping that the parkas would have a little more going on than just being parkas. But that being said, they're very stylish. I think they look really good.
They look great. I saw a couple of people wearing them at the theater. Where are they getting them from? Are they making them or?
What you mean? Where are fans getting them?
Yeah, can you buy those? Or I haven't seen one if you can.
You can. You can actually buy the licensed parka. It's made by the company who made the parkas for the movie. They are outrageously expensive.
Yeah.
Stan is ordering 3 of them.
Yeah.
The price of one of those parkas, you can build a fully, fan operational proton pack with lights and sounds for less than that.
Wow.
Yikes.
They're like, people online, you're listening to this, you can look it up, but last I checked, they were like $1,600.
Oh my God.
Outrageously expensive. Now, granted, those are like very high quality parkas.
Yeah.
And a good parka can be very expensive. But some of our members found jackets on Amazon for like $70 that look pretty dang close. And then they just added some of the like fob straps on the chest area.
Yeah.
And then there's a guy who's making the LED board that you can put in the pocket.
Oh, that's awesome.
Okay.
And then you just get the patches on there, and
Good to go.
the look is pretty dang close.
Yeah.
I believe that Magnoli Clothiers, who does a lot of replicas for the fan community, I believe he has one that's coming out as well that is not licensed. So I can't necessarily say that I recommend it, but I do think that he normally makes really high quality stuff.
Okay.
But all of his stuff is unlicensed. And as a partner who often works with Sony, I suggest if you're going to either build it yourself or get the officially licensed thing.
There you go.
Sure.
Yes.
I wanted to know more about the Lucky's hand cannon.
Yeah.
That Janine ends up with. The packless neutrino wand, because they don't really talk about it. It's just kind of there. And I was like, what is that?
Hook up to something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
Like it's cool. Like I like the idea that you have, like a gauntlet blaster.
Right.
Which I think is what it is. I don't think it's meant to be something that you like lasso the ghost with.
Yeah,
Right.
it kind of seems like you stunned him a little bit with it, right? Yeah.
Yeah. I think of it like in the video game.
Oh,
Whenever you lasso a ghost, you have to weaken it, and you
Yep.
weaken it by using the boson dart,
Yes.
which is basically just a big blast from the proton pack.
Yeah.
So I kind of think that that's what that is sort of like just a blaster that has a temporary charge to weaken a ghost, and it's a supportive supplemental piece of tech. It's not meant to replace the proton pack
I got you.
necessarily.
Yeah, because it looked cool, and I was like,
Yeah.
I want more.
It did. I really want to build one of those, but
Yeah.
I think the only addition I would make to mine is I would wire it up the arm and then down to the belt gizmo.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
Because the belt gizmo, I think Dan Aykroyd has gone on record as saying it doesn't have a cannon purpose, but that he had always envisioned that you would hook the proton pack up to it, and the gizmo would help give it a supplemental charge.
Okay.
And so I was kind of thinking like, it would be kind of neat if you actually gave the gizmo a purpose by hooking it up to the arm cannon. But we didn't see that in the movie.
Yeah.
I could also.
sorry.
I was just gonna say I could also see the arm cannon being connected to the goggles, almost like
a aim and
to
fire
help
kind of
assist and
Well, that's what they were doing with the drone.
Well,
Yeah,
yeah,
they hooked it up, yeah.
but like even you combine the goggles with so many other items,
Right,
It's
that makes sense.
Yeah.
it's endless. You could.
I've been watching Adam Savage has a YouTube channel called Tested, and he's been doing releasing a bunch of videos about set visits he's just been doing to Frozen Empire. And so he's been going through all the tech that they've been going through, and showing off like the brass cyclotron and how that was done. It's all practical, which is really beautiful to see.
Yeah.
And I've been waiting for the hand gizmo one to kind of figure out what that look is and everything. Because I'm like, oh, that'd be a cool build. Or that'd probably be the next HasLab to come out.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah. I did see some guys had basically built a slightly scaled down version of the cannon, taking the wand off of the Spirit Halloween deluxe pack, which is the scaled down one. It's not full size. It's like 75-80%. I thought that was a really good idea. I actually might consider getting a full size Spirit pack and then just taking the wand from it and cannibalizing the wand as the base for the arm cannon, because at least in that regard it's full scale. And then just get like the new Hasbro 84 wand or even the Spangler wand and attaching it to that Spirit one.
I
That makes sense. Yeah, that makes sense.
Another project to add to the pile.
Yep.
I wanted to bring this up because I wanted to know if I was the only one who thought this when Phoebe went to Ray for to go on their adventure to search to the library and whatnot. He opens up the garage and it's the motorcycle. and
the Ecto C.
Ecto C.
Yes.
Yeah.
And instead of thinking what it actually turned out to be, I thought it was going to be if you remember in the real Ghostbusters, they had a flying
the
helicopter bike-ish type of thing. I was like, oh, is this going to be that?
Like a gyrocopter.
Yeah. I would have been like,
that.
I know that's a little much, but like I could see Ray tinkering on his own, like with something like
Well,
that.
I know Dan Aykroyd is a huge like motorcycle and car guy.
Yeah.
So I was like, oh, okay, he gets his bike, and I was like, is Ecto C like, is it Ecto Cooler? Is it like just a little tip of the hat to that, or?
Oh, interesting. I hadn't thought of that.
Oh yeah,
Because it wasn't numbered like the
That's
Ecto
true.
One.
That's
so.
true.
that
yeah.
is true.
Yeah.
Huh.
Well, the big cargo van that the proton packs are stored in, that's
Yeah.
called the Ecto Z.
Oh, okay.
yeah,
Oh,
Z.
okay.
So
They're taking a little
Yeah,
cue
I
from
want-
Star Trek and alphabetizing.
Well, they probably
yeah.
wanted to do 1, 2, 3, and then they were like ABC for the side vehicles that
Okay.
they don't
Yeah,
use a lot.
maybe. Yeah.
Makes sense.
All I
yeah.
know is my car is Ecto EXP because it's a Ford Explorer.
Nice.
So
I love
There
it.
you go. How's it doing?
Yeah. It's doing okay. Right now, it's completely loaded up with everything from our event last night, so I'm anxious to empty it. But I can't empty it in my garage because my garage is incredibly tiny because I live in an apartment complex.
Yeah.
Are you going to
So I'm
add red stripes all the way down the front now, like the new Ecto is all decked up?
Nah, the Explorer has enough red on it. I think.
Yeah. Looks great.
I mean, you have to be very delicate with the color.
Mm-hmm.
I find that a lot of cars either go too far. The two things that I think homemade Ectos struggle with the balance of is the balance of how much of the red do you put in there.
Mm-hmm.
I think the racing stripes down the front fenders on the new Ecto, I think it looks really good.
Yeah.
I know a lot of people were a little harsh on that. I think it looks great.
Yeah.
But I think the caution striping,
Yeah.
I think it's real easy to go too far with
Right.
the caution
Yeah.
striping.
Because that's very Ghostbusters too, with all the crazy cautions.
But I think the point of Ecto 1A is to look outrageously ridiculous.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sure does.
Because the original Ecto 1 is meant to look ridiculous, and instead we all thought it looked awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
And with Ecto 1A, they're like, oh, no, we got to make this thing look as dumb as possible.
But
And when
LED, yeah,
There's that one shot where it takes a turn, and I swear that thing looks like it's going to tip.
Yeah.
It looks so stupid. But that's the whole point. It's meant to look stupid.
Right.
So I've always kind of felt that, you have to write, if you want it to look cool, you got to write a very fine line of balancing those colors. If you want it to look stupid while also being kind of cool, that's a very, very small sweet spot.
Yeah.
Because at some point you go too far one way or the other, and it just doesn't look good at all.
I
It looks too
did get
much.
some memories of real Ghostbusters when Possessor took over the Ecto 1.
Oh,
Because there was like an
There wasn't,
episode
yeah.
where it goes, and I was like, oh man, they're doing it. They're really going
Yeah.
for it.
Boy, I really thought that was going to be more of a thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I could see the Possessor being his own villain, in a film, and,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
it
But I like
worked out.
they gave him some personality
that,
with the chair. you
They
know?
did.
He was.
They-
he
yeah.
Oh
was-
yeah, and I like that he was like, I'll
was
give you
like,
a ball to play.
Oh, I'll
with."
get a ball.
Yeah,
Oh,
he kind of perked up when he
Yeah.
said that. Yeah. Yeah, it was
Look, if you
cute.
behave, I'll give you a ball.
Yeah. It was cute.
That's funny.
Do you guys have any more questions? Or?
I think we're. I mean,
I think we're busted.
Yeah. I think we busted.
Yeah.
Oh wait, no.
The last thing I'll say about Frozen Empire, because I've been watching a lot of the reviews, and I really feel like the reviews are way too harsh.
They're very
I
harsh.
agree,
yeah,
yeah.
Very unfair. Yeah.
Yeah, because I think ultimately no one sets out to make a bad movie.
Right.
No
Yeah.
one.
yeah.
And I don't think this is a bad movie. I think it is a really well-made film. I think it's a good film. Is it perfect? And no, it's not. It's got its problems. But I think that you feel the intention of the filmmakers, you feel the intention of the story, and while some of that is unfortunately cut out for the sake of the running time, I'm assuming. I still think that the heart of it still comes through.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I really like this movie. I really do want people to see it. And if you're a fan of Ghostbusters in any way, even if you're a casual fan, I think you will like this. I think someone asked, Stan, it may have been you asked me this, like, what did I think? And I said, I really loved Ghostbusters Afterlife. I really enjoyed and I really liked this one. I didn't love it nearly as much as Afterlife, but I still really liked this one.
I'm in the same league. Yeah.
And I think it is a worthy sequel. I think that the franchise still has gas in the tank,
Yeah.
and I'm anxious to see what else they got.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Hell yeah.
Absolutely.
I feel like now I've seen this one twice already, and I feel like this is one I'll probably rewatch more than Afterlife because it is it's very digestible.
There's a lot of things
Yes.
going on.
Oh,
you
I
know?
wholeheartedly agree. It's way
Like
more
Afterlife
digestible
is
than
a
Afterlife.
rough. I mean, it's not a rough watch, but it's definitely like, oof, it's a big meal of a movie.
Yeah.
Like it deals with a lot of
A
emotion.
lot of stuff. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
The thing that still gets me in the end of Afterlife is that moment when Egon's hand comes into the
Exactly. That's
Still-
exactly what I was thinking about.
and we get a little bit of that in this with the mom and Paul Rudd both holding
that's
Phoebe
true.
as well,
Yeah.
which I thought was a beautiful
Yeah.
little play on that.
Yeah.
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 Everybody I know who has seen the movie has said it plays a lot better on a second viewing, and so I'm excited to hopefully have a chance to watch it again soon. I need to get
If
through
you're
the
done
next
hosting
week and a
stuff
half.
for it, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh boy.
That was your first time watching it, though, Matt? I thought yesterday?
Yeah, so the group was able to go to the Friends and Family screening on Tuesday with the people who worked on the film and the executive producers and
Yeah.
all them. I was not able to attend. So we had originally the screening was going to be on Wednesday, and that's what we were planning for. And I had already rescheduled my D&D group from that previous Saturday because we had the parade that day.
Yeah.
I rescheduled for Wednesday night, and then when they said, "Oh, the screening's going to be Wednesday," I rescheduled my D&D group for Tuesday. And then they said, "Oh, actually, we're shifting. It's going to be on Tuesday now."
Oh, shit.
I was like, "Well, I mean, anybody who knows D&D knows
Yep.
that the hardest part is getting everybody to agree
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
on a set schedule time to meet." And I was like, I can't change it again for my D&D group. I can't do that to them. So I said, you know what? I would rather give up my seat to some of our newer members.
That's nice.
Because I went to the Friends and Family screening of Afterlife, and that was such a wonderful experience. And I wanted that for our some of our other members and newer rookies. And I'm glad they got to have it.
How
That's
many
awesome.
how many members are you at now?
Oh my gosh, with the current roster of rookies, and we're adding more every week, I think we're currently at 30. We might be
Wow.
over 30.
There was
That's
a lot
awesome.
of people last night. Everywhere I looked, those Ghostbusters. Like, holy shit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
look great.
fantastic.
Yeah.
We've grown so much. We started this group, we were 11 people, and
Wow.
now we're going past 30.
That's awesome.
It's a lot. We're scaling up. We're a lot of our procedures and logistics behind the scenes are scaling up appropriately so that we can handle not just the influx of rookies that want to join, but we're also scaling up our process of event approvals and ultimately how we conduct all of our events. It's for such a long time, it's me, Jeremy Treat, Miguel Medina, Indy Johns. It's us kind of running everything, and we're stretched so thin. I mean, we've had this conversation among our admins that we're just sometimes we're so stressed out. It's like we need to make sure that the culture of this group stays fun.
Yeah.
And we can't do that if we are the only ones doing all the heavy lifting.
Yeah.
And so we've brought some extremely talented people who know us, that we trust, to kind of start working with our admin team to make sure that the responsibilities are being spread around so that no single person is doing everything or paying for everything. And it's definitely part of the growing process and the growing pains of being a group that grows as quickly as we have. But we're managing it. We're getting through it, and everybody seems to still be having a good time. Everybody is still engaged, and I mean, we couldn't ask for more than that.
Yeah,
Well, we love you
exactly.
guys. You guys do
Yeah, man.
amazing
Yeah.
work. You guys do amazing charity work. You're bringing smiles to everyone that we see. I was hanging out outside the movie theater yesterday before the screening, and people were just coming up and they were seeing you guys and seeing the cars. And I want to give a shout out to Steve with the Sublime Slimer car, who was on the line. I had a nice chat with that guy, and and just everyone's really embraced it. So thank you again for everything you do.
Yeah, thanks a lot, man. It's great. You guys have a great
so
organization.
much,
and if you could tell us our listeners about Starlight Foundation again,
sure,
what they do.
Yeah. So for those of you guys who don't know, since our inception, the Los Angeles Ghostbusters has been working exclusively with the Starlight Children's Foundation. They are a nonprofit organization based right here in LA, but they have a nationwide reach. They work with over 800 hospitals nationwide to provide toys, games, video games, VR experiences, and specially designed hospital gowns for kids who are basically stuck in hospital situations across the country. And there's been a lot of studies that kids who go into the hospital, the moment they have to, take off their clothes and put on these hospital gowns, anybody who's been to a hospital knows that feeling. There is something just so primal about that moment because you feel so exposed, you feel so incredibly stressed and anxious. It's a really hard thing to go through as an adult, let alone a child.
Yeah.
And so one thing that Ghostbusters has brought us and that we want to bring to people is joy. And in partnering with Starlight, we thought that one of the best ways we could spread some joy is by creating Ghostbuster hospital gowns. And I think the last time I was here, we talked about the hospital gown initiative that we had, where we spearheaded this initiative that raised over $40,000 to create Ghostbuster hospital gowns that look like flight suits, complete with proton pack on the back.
That's awesome.
And we delivered the first batch of gowns last year to kids at Miller Children's Hospital in Long Beach. It was one of the most rewarding days of my life.
Wow.
And I promised myself I wouldn't get emotional if I spoke about it, but
it's all good.
Holding it back as much as I can.
No, that's all good, man.
It was a really beautiful day, and if I never do anything else with my life, I can die happy knowing that I was able to be a part of that. But we felt like the work doesn't end there. We have to keep going, and it hasn't been officially announced, but we are moving ahead with the Generation 2 hospital gown.
Oh, nice.
We will make an official announcement with some imagery soon.
Nice. That's great.
But we've been fundraising with the intention of making these gowns for about 8 or 9 months now. So once the designs are ready, we'll make a more formal announcement. And we're so incredibly excited to share them with the world because the team at Sony, they are a part of this. They are the ones who are designing it and working with us to make sure that they get made properly and that there is a quality that they approve of. And they've been so instrumental to this process. We could not have done it without them. And I do want to give a shout out to all the Ghostbuster franchises out there because the first gowns would not have been successful without their help. If they were not able to donate, they at least spread the word. And, we raised $40,000 in, I think, less than 3 months.
That's amazing.
That's great.
That's
amazing.
So incredible. And I think that really showed the community that, Ghostbusters means something to people. It means something to us. It means something to kids. It means something to parents, too. Like, we get so many parents that come up to us and they say, God, I loved Ghostbusters as a kid, and it's so amazing to see people out here still, carrying the wand, as it were, carrying the proton packs and bringing it to the next generation. And when you go to the hospital and you give kids these gowns, they recognize it, and it gives them something. And I can't imagine doing this hobby without that. And for me, there wouldn't be why bother? If I can't do this, I wouldn't put the proton pack on. So I'm so privileged and humbled and thankful that I'm able to do that.
And there was kids in the audience last night, man. Like young kids.
There were so many kids.
And it's like they're watching these Ghostbusters walking around with these awesome proton packs, and they're like, "This is awesome," and that's like you said, the next generation. We're just passing our stories on to the next generation like humanity has done since the dawn of time. And that's what I love about entertainment, you know?
Yeah,
and we are a very small part of that legacy, but boy, are we feel very fortunate and privileged to be a part of it.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
My son is 5 years old, and he's never seen a Ghostbusters movie yet. But he
There's
knows.
time.
Yeah. But last night I picked up one of the trap popcorn buckets that AMC has. I brought that home, and my son saw it today and was like, "Oh, what's that?" And I was like, "Oh, it's a popcorn bucket." He's like, "No, it looks like a ghost trap." And I was like, "How do you know what a ghost trap is?" I'm like, he's just through osmosis, I guess, kind of picked it all up.
Wow.
But
awesome.
Yep, pop culture osmosis.
exactly. So hopefully we can lead a whole new generation to loving this stuff.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Well, Matt, we've taken up over an hour and a half of your time.
Oh, boy.
We really appreciate you coming on, man. You're a great dude. Honestly, man, it's just I'm not just saying that. You're an awesome person. Thank you so much for coming on. You're doing a great thing with LA Ghostbusters. Oh, Chad wants to say something.
Oh, no, I just wanted to ask if you wanted to promote any events coming up or
anything
projects
you're working on. Yeah, personal projects.
VO, voiceover?
Yeah, so we have a few things coming up. I don't know when this episode will drop, but
Tonight.
Sunday, March 24th might have already passed by this point. We're doing an event at Scum and Villainy. But on Wednesday, March 27th, we will be part of the official release event for Ghostbusters Back in Town, the new Dark Horse comic book series.
Oh,
yes.
sweet.
We will be in Chatsworth, California at We Can Be Heroes Comics.
Oh, nice.
Where there will be a signing with the writer of the comic, David Boer, as well as the 3 actors who portrayed Slimer in Ghostbusters 1, 2, and Frozen Empire.
Oh, holy
awesome.
cow. That's
Nice.
awesome.
Yep.
Damn, I have to go to that.
Billy Bryant will be there. He played the Stay Puft Marshmallow Man.
Wow. That's so
People
cool.
can come by. They can pick up some art that can get signed. They can pick up a comic book and get an autograph.
That's awesome.
They can also see the LA Ghostbusters. We'll be there.
Right on.
And then we will be at WonderCon at booth 1192 the weekend of March 29th through the 31st. We have a couple of smaller events, some more intimate kind of styled events through April and May.
Mm-hmm.
I can't officially announce this next event, so I can only hint at it. But I will say the weekend of June 7th, that's a Friday, June 7th, and then Saturday is June 8th. June 8th is Ghostbusters Day. We have had something brewing for quite some time.
Ooh.
We have been working very diligently with some powers that be. Sony is included in that, but there are some other powers that be that we are working with to make something very special for the people of Los Angeles. And I can't say what it is because we are still very much in the lockdown phase, but as soon as we can make it formal, we will.
Are you
And
filling
believe
up
me-
the sewers of LA with slime right now?
Oh, man, you got me there.
I don't know what that stuff is, but it was them that put it there.
No, we didn't. We do have something very, very special planned, and we've gotten the approval of Sony. We're working with their, right now they're more concerned about getting their movie released.
Yeah.
Sure.
But once the dust has settled with that, they're going to be more hands-on with us to make this thing just that much more special for the people of Los Angeles.
Right on.
So I keep an eye on our Instagram at LA Ghostbusters and our TikTok also at LA Ghostbusters. We will be announcing something very, very soon in the coming weeks. So
Awesome.
please keep
Awesome.
an eye on
Can't
the
wait.
social media
Can't
accounts.
Well, Matt, thanks again. Really appreciate it. I know you're tired. We're gonna let you go 'cause you get some rest, man. And again, I don't say it lightly. You're a great dude, and thank
Yeah.
you for everything
Yeah,
that you
absolutely.
do.
Thank you for your
I
time.
like Ghostbusters and everything. So really appreciate it, man.
Oh, thank you so much, guys. It's a real pleasure to be here. Love the podcast. You guys have been doing amazing, amazing work. And what I love about this podcast is it honestly just feels like friends who love this stuff sitting down and talking about
Oh,
it.
yeah.
Exactly what it is.
Exactly.
That's
exactly
what a
what it
good
is.
podcast is.
Yeah.
Exactly
Just
what it is.
guys who, people who love something sit down and talk about it. And
Exactly.
That's what you guys do. I love what you guys do. And thank you so much for coming out and supporting us. It really means the world to us. And keep doing what you're doing.
All right,
Love the
Thank
show.
you. You
All
too.
right.
Thank you,
You
buddy.
too, man.
And thank you again to Matt Zunick from LA Ghostbusters for coming on. Really appreciate it.
Yeah.
Yes.
We're going to continue on. He had to sign off. He's had a long week, but we're going to continue on with some of the stuff that's been coming out lately.
Oh yeah.
Primarily X-Men 97.
Mm-hmm,
Chad
Oh,
is still
yeah.
waiting for it. He wants to watch it on Saturday with a bowl of cereal, like old school.
Yeah.
So I don't
Anything
have...
to be young again.
I love the dedication to that.
It is... I thought you were kidding. But
No, I
was kidding when I said it, but...
I'm when I say something, I'm usually sticking to my word unless from some reason out of spite I could not do it because
So-
like, oh,
Spite.
you know.
So there's 2 episodes up.
There's two.
Are you gonna watch just one?
If it is really really good, I'll probably dabble into a second one.
It's really, really good.
Spoiler
and
alert!
yeah.
It's good.
No,
How
and-
much do you want us to talk? You don't
No,
want to
I mean
right?
you're it's totally fine. I mean like I know, I mean I don't know if well let me ask, are they following like the comics of the 90s still, like the plot lines?
Yes,
Pretty much, yeah.
So
Well,
this is a plot line in a comic book. Correct.
It is.
Yeah.
It's mostly from the 80s, the Byrne
Right.
run.
Okay, so if it's already published, then I don't.
Yeah,
care.
yeah,
It's
yeah.
not like something new where
They-
I'd be like,
no,
oh,
they-
what's going on?
They've elevated certain parts of it. But
Yeah,
parts,
no,
yeah.
I'm sure. Yeah, then whatever. But
Okay.
obviously, people listening, if they
Yeah.
haven't watched it yet, if
Spoilers
they want to
for
wait,
X-Men 97.
if they want to wait like me, like a true Fox Kids kid, then pause it and wait till you watch it.
Yeah.
But if
yeah,
you're
watch
not,
it Saturday with Chad. And
Yeah.
Yeah, with a
live
bowl of
stream
cereal.
it.
yeah, we'll live stream me eating a bowl of cereal, not even on the TV, just me just.
Yeah, just the camera's aimed at your face.
Just spilling milk.
And it's
all-
got to be
Yeah.
it's got to be a sugary 90 cereal.
Yeah,
Like
I-
Count Chocula.
True. I was gonna go healthy, and I was like, maybe I'll pick up some
Fuck
Magic
that.
Spoon.
If you're gonna
Be a little-
if you're gonna do the whole thing, you
We're
gotta
not
go the whole-
sponsored
you
by
gotta go the
Magic
whole way,
Spoon.
bro.
No, we're not. We're not. Although
$10 a box of cereal.
I know it's
God
crazy,
damn.
but it's Costco. I would get it from Costco.
It's okay. Yeah, I've tried.
I haven't
It's
tried it.
I'm
It's
trying.
okay.
Just as if it's a thing where I could fill up a giant salad bowl and not feel
Yeah.
bad, then I'll eat.
I
I'll
had my cereal bowl, like no joke, was like a big ass fucking
yeah.
I
metal
couldn't
bowl.
do it because I didn't like the sogginess of it, so I have.
Well, see, no, that's
Here's
that's
the secret.
that's there's a
It's a
secret.
secret.
Now, what's
What?
your secret? Because mine might be different.
I do a little amount of milk,
Okay.
so I get the crunch
Yeah.
from the
Oh,
top.
but then you're
Yeah.
eating dry cereal.
No, because you dip
See,
as the
he
spoon
knows the
goes in,
secret.
you dip it in and you soak it, and
Oh,
then
I
you bring
see.
it back
Yeah,
up.
yeah.
But my other way is more of a
Thought I
pig way, and you just add more cereal in. So it's like you got the fresh one on top, and then you got the soggy on the bottom. So then you scoop, you get a mixture of soggy.
okay, I
and
get
you
you.
know,
Yeah,
it
yeah,
works.
yeah.
It works.
Okay.
It fixes
Okay.
itself out.
I'm picturing like this big giant bowl of cereal on Friday
Yeah.
when he comes out and they got no milk, so he's about to throw away, and he's like, "You better throw some water in that shit."
Well, there was one time I forget. Like, I think we were out of milk when I was a kid for one weekend or something like that. I was like, "Oh, there's no milk. I wanted cereal," and I was like, "Well, you know what? I'm drinking orange juice anyway."
Oh,
No,
And then I just poured it in. I was like, "Let's see how this goes." And I was like,
God.
"Oh, it tastes so bad. It was so
instant
bad."
regret.
Oh, yeah, not good.
Oh God, no.
I should have. I wish we had like chocolate milk because then I would have just
Yeah.
used that.
Yeah, yeah.
It would've just
Now,
as good.
have you ever used your leftover milk from your last cereal to then add cereal to? So you got cereal kind of flavored milk, and then you put the fresh cereal on top of that
Oh,
milk.
yeah.
Well, I mean,
do
that's
that
sort
right
of.
now.
Come
I
on.
mean, that's sort of what my replenish thing does anyway.
Yeah.
In the process,
So you still get the crunch.
you still get the crunch,
Good crunch,
and you
yeah.
get the milk flavored. I mean, the cereal flavored milk,
yeah.
to add it to it as well.
Now, here's another question for you guys. When you were growing
We're
up,
off the rails for
Yeah.
X-Men.
Hey.
I don't fucking.
We're on
when,
cereal talk.
Cereal nerd talk.
when you guys were growing up, did you get the sugary cereal? Did your
Oh,
parents
yeah.
buy you that?
I mean, of course.
Yeah,
God damn it. God damn
Frosted
it.
Flakes always.
It was Frosted Flakes, Pops, Cinnamon Toast Crunch,
Lucky Charms.
Lucky Charms.
not
I
really Lucky Charms.
no, you were into the.
We never got the marshmallowy ones.
I was into the marshmallows, but also there was
Cocoa
Captain Crunch, the
Krispies.
berry Captain.
Oh,
Crunch.
I never did the fruity. Like I didn't do like Fruit Loops or Fruit Berries
Pops?
or anything like that. What was Pops?
It was just like
The little corn pops.
yeah, they were like little
Pop?
poofy little corn pop. Because
No,
there's
we
kicks
do-
and then there's corn pop.
We
Yeah.
do like
don't think they make
Cocoa
Pops anymore.
Krispies,
Cocoa Krispies,
like chocolate crispy
okay.
cereal,
All right.
Cocoa Puffs.
Well, fuck both you guys because I didn't get any of that shit.
What did you get?
I got the most sugary stuff.
MREs?
The most sugary stuff. Yeah, the most sugary stuff my mom would buy me would be Frosted Flakes. That's it.
Oh.
Either regular cornflakes or Frosted Flakes. That's it.
Call your mom. We're gonna talk. We're gonna have a talk.
And I'd ask for like, can I get the Lucky Charms? No, it's too much sugar. It's too expensive. I was like, what the fuck?
The thing was, like, even if my parents did bring home like Frosted Flakes, I would be it's like, oh, this tastes so bland. I'm used to, my taste buds going haywire. Yeah. So I would just take spoonfuls of sugar and throw them into the Frosted Flake. I'm surprised I'm not dead.
I would do that with the cornflakes because there's no sugar.
Exactly.
So I'd have to add
Cheerios, plain Cheerios or regular.
Cheerio, we got plain Cheerios.
Or regular cornflakes. I would just dump. Like, you know how people do teaspoon? Mine is whatever the spoon you're eating with. Yeah. That was a spoonful.
A ladle.
And then you just see a little mound as it soaks into the milk. And it's like, and then you stir it in. And then you could feel the sugar at the bottom.
It was like syrup, bro. And then you just add more Dude, it was so bad for us.
Oh, my God.
Now, the crazy thing is,
how do you have all your teeth?
Yeah, exactly. My mom was very anti-sugar in the 90s, which is weird because that's very ahead of its time.
That's true.
But, but then she wouldn't see when I was just adding mounds of sugar to my cornflakes. So I was like, all right, whatever.
It's called a life hack.
Exactly.
Wink.
But we got into this conversation because X-Men. Chad, I know you haven't seen it yet, but Watson, go ahead and give us. What do you think of it?
I think it's great. I think it takes it goes. I mean, like, there are in the first episode alone, I will say 5 like holy shit moments I had watching it, including like they have like really stepped up the game with Cyclops.
Okay.
Like they really like made him a great leader.
Yes.
Great in battle. He does some moves that I was like,
bro. The sliding?
The sliding.
Oh, I was like, no way.
He's using his optic blast to kind of ping pong himself around.
Yeah. I did see I think it was a Twitter on X or whatever. Someone posted a shot of him skydiving and slowing
the skydive scene.
I was like, oh, that looks pretty cool.
They're falling from a plane, and the X-Men who can fly pick up the X-Men who can't. But they leave Scott just like free, and he's
totally chill.
He hits his communicator. He's like, "Great job, team!" And then he just goes into like a free fall.
Yeah.
And then he just uses his optic
and he's
blast
like screaming and throwing his optic blast at the sand, and it slows his momentum down enough where he does the superhero pose. And then, and then, in that same scene, I mean, there's the bit with Storm and tornadoes.
Bishop?
No, when Storm creates, she basically turns the sand into glass, and then makes a tornado of fucking glass to take part. It's like, bro, I was losing my mind.
There's a part where they run into the Sentinels and they run to what's his face,
Master Mold,
and of course the Sentinels pop out of this like kind of junkyard.
Yeah,
and you're like, oh shit, oh my god, they're surrounded, and the X-Men like are smiling like, bitch. Get the and then that's the theme song starts out, and they just start fucking these Sentinels up, dude.
Yeah,
and it was I was like, oh my god,
it hits so hard. It's
so good, dude. Yeah,
that's the first episode.
You know what it felt like when I saw that scene? It felt like I was a kid again in the 90s watching this for the first time, cheering like, yeah, get them, X-Men. It felt so good, dude.
Now, story-wise, because I don't remember in the cartoon, I thought they may have defeated Master Mold, or did he escape? And then they explain it that he got away. He's like Brainiac. He's he's in this compound now in the desert kind of thing, in the Sahara. Because you were asking earlier before we started recording about the human element, and their bigotry, and so it starts off with the Friends of Humanity. Oh, really?
Back again.
Oh, shit!
And they're armed themselves with Sentinel technology.
Oh, they have like arm blasters.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
So, and that's the whole thing. Is Cyclops is like, where the hell did they get the Sentinel technology?
Okay.
And the hunt for that. And so, I mean, and it really leads into the second episode with this character called the Executioner and his ties to Friends of Humanity and everything. And it's so well done, dude. And like they've upped the game with characters. I mean, like obviously we've all seen from the trailer Gambit charging up
Wolverine's
claws.
Oh, so good.
I mean,
dude.
so many great little combos, like you said, like with Bishop and Storm. Like it's so great. They had these great
how
little
they
moments
work together. So
Did they
well
explain why Bishop is there with him?
Not yet.
Okay, not yet. Okay.
He does the kind of thing where he's talking about like, well, I've seen so many different types of future. I've never seen this, but but they don't really explain that yet.
What about the relationship with Scott and Logan? Are they still butting heads?
Oh, yeah.
Still butting heads.
Still
yeah.
butting heads.
There's Wolverine is definitely Logan is still upset that she decided she chose Scott over him.
But they've really kind of did this really great thing where Logan's not really a lone wolf as much anymore because they've got Morph is a full member of the team.
Yeah.
And he's really like Wolverine's buddy.
Right.
So every time Wolverine's being, like, I've got a brood, like, Morph's the one that's like, dude, come on.
Well, I mean, I remember originally when...
From, like, the first episode.
The first episode where he was so upset that his friend got killed.
Yeah.
And then he came... I forget when he came back in the series as, like, an evil character.
Right.
And then, like, he was freed of the mind control or whatever that was. So I was like, no, he's got his buddy back. So that makes sense.
It's really
that,
cool. And
he's got someone to...
And because they got Morph now on the team, you get so many cameos from other characters.
Right. That makes sense.
Because in the middle of the episode,
He
he just morphs into, like, you see Colossus, you see Psylocke, you see Archangel. You know, like, all these little cameos keep popping up because you've got Morph.
Well, that's why when there was that plane when the plane gets messed up and Morph transforms into Archangel.
Yeah.
I was just like, holy shit.
Oh,
Okay.
wow.
Yeah.
For a second, I was like, where did he come from? Oh, that's right, it's Morph.
Yeah.
Now, I do want to ask, the two episodes that you guys watched, is it, like, consecutive? Like, the story continues into each...
It does.
Okay.
Yeah, it does.
I don't know how much that will continue, but, I mean... X-Men was always kind of like arc-based.
Yeah.
That, but it also felt like random...
one-offs
mutant of the week or something.
Yeah,
because the Juggernaut shows up, and so
I think it was smart to release these first two together.
Okay,
because it does it almost picks up immediately after the first one.
Yeah,
and then the second one does end on a cliffhanger. I'm not going to spoil that one for you, but do you want to?
I'm just going to say that there's a scene in the second episode involving Magneto.
Yeah.
That gave me chills, dude.
Yeah.
Okay.
And that's directly from the comic books.
How good it is, dude.
Yeah, that's from the Byrne comic books from the 80s. It's beautifully done.
Did you miss it when you actually see Magneto
Yeah.
cry?
You see a tear.
You see a tear. And it's like because they don't focus on it.
Yeah.
They're focused on some characters behind him, so his face is kind of cut off.
Yeah.
But you can see the tear roll because because the monologue that he's doing and the sacrifice he has to make.
Yeah.
And the sacrifice he has to make is not what you think. It's so good.
And just he's like, please don't make me be an asshole.
Yeah.
Like, it's so good.
Oh, what is he? What's the next line? Don't make me disappoint you.
Yeah. Very good. It's brilliantly done. I know there's been some complaints about the animation because it's not exactly like the 90s animation.
It's definitely upgraded.
It's a little less detailed. It's more like Archer-esque, if you will.
Right.
But I do think it's better than that fifth season's animation.
No, I'll agree on that. Yes.
So I think it is a good transitional.
Okay.
Obviously the voice cast, they got as many of the original as they could. I didn't realize it's a new Scott Summers voice.
Really?
Yeah, because the original guy died.
Oh no! I know it's a new Bishop voice there,
but the guy that they got to do Cyclops sounds just like him.
Really?
It's crazy.
I didn't know that. Oh, no
yeah,
way.
and the guy that's doing Magneto is the same guy who did Red Skull in Avengers. So not Hugo Weaving, but the guy they got to take it.
When Black Widow and
I forget his name, but he's from Walking Dead. He's the one-armed.
Everyone's got one arm in that show.
Well, no, he's the one who he has like a hook hand for his weapon.
I know who you're talking about.
He's got the gay relationship in the show. I forget his name.
What's his in this show? I can't remember the actor's name. But
it's all right.
Anyway, but that's the guy.
I know you mean.
Yeah.
But they got the original Beast, the original Storm, original Wolverine, Jean Grey.
It's great.
I think the original voice of Jubilee was a white lady, and she said she didn't want to come back. She was like, I really want an actual Asian American to do that role. So it's a new voice for Jubilee.
Jubilee's great in it too. They have a small. They have
they have a great bit. With
they have a small It's like a small subplot with her and one of the mutants of the week that you were talking about.
Yeah,
yeah.
But you might recognize from New Mutants if you saw that movie.
I did not.
Okay. No one did.
But I mean, I know of the mutants in that, so maybe I'll get it or something.
Yeah, as soon as you watch it, you'll see. You'll be like, oh, that guy.
Okay.
But yeah, I think everyone does a great job. Everyone obviously sounds a little older. Like Rogue sounds a little older, and because it's been 30 years.
It's hard to avoid.
Wolverine sounds a little bit older, but. I heard that was kind of by design as well. Like they wanted to sound a little bit more.
I think he sounds great.
Yeah.
The because of everything, there's one guy I would love to show up. I don't. They probably won't bring him back because it would only involve really one character. Wolverine is. I would love to see Sabretooth show up because I loved whenever they shared airtime in the show. Because like in the Canada when they would just cross paths again, it was just always great.
I'm almost positive.
Yeah, I don't think you can't.
Yeah.
Have him on.
I know.
I'm sure they're gonna have him on.
Yeah.
And some from one or the other.
Like the big hitters, you got to bring back. So like even the what's the underground the mutants that live underground with Psylocke?
The Morlocks.
They're in this.
Have they? Have you? Oh, they already made an appearance.
Yep,
Okay.
Made an appearance.
All right, awesome.
And the beauty with the new title sequence.
Yeah.
So it hits hard. It's the same. It's almost beat for beat the same new animation, but they do add in like every episode, at least the first 2 episodes, the beginning animation has been changed a little bit, where they show little clips from the original series, like or little like hey, this happened. So they show like in the title sequence, you see like Storm beating to become leader of the Morlocks and stuff like that. Just to kind of remind you, I think, to put that in your head.
Okay.
And the great thing I love about this, like I don't, Chad, you said this. I haven't seen this too much, but because I just haven't looked. But you said that some people were saying it's woke.
I've heard from like random things online of people calling it that, and I was like, it's ridiculous to even think that because
it's like the original civil rights comic book. You know, like. That's what it's all about.
Right. And they talked about the civil rights in the original 97. So, but when people say that, I think they think it's because some characters they feel are elevated because of their gender or race or whatever. But this show, what they're doing here is not like that at all. No. It's like everybody has their strengths and weaknesses. Not one of the mutants is better than the other because of their gender or race or whatever. No. It's like it's not like that at all. It's Storm suffers a huge defeat. That's just heartbreaking.
Yeah.
Scott Summers is pretty much still the leader. He's the leader now that Professor X is gone. That's the other thing. Professor X.
I know that from.
It's there's no one is better than anybody else because of a certain thing.
No.
And they're a team, and they're a family. And
they do.
Is the school still running?
School, it is, but it doesn't seem like they have a ton of
see classes or anything.
Yeah,
I don't think you really saw much classes in the original cartoon.
And they do use the word family a few times.
A couple times,
like,
which is great.
It's a family.
And they have that, they capture that too.
Yeah.
Like there's that feeling of it. And then, that scene with, Magneto has a relationship with somebody.
Yes.
You know what I'm talking about.
Which is yet again right out of Age.
God, man. And because I love that character so much, man.
Yeah.
I love those two. But when he saw Magneto coming out of somebody's room.
Yeah.
And he looks like
defeated.
Crushed. It's like, oh man, bro. Oh. Yeah, it was just and I just love how none of the characters feels like any different from the 90s from the 90s show.
It feels
They're
like
all
it picks
the exact. It literally feels like they just pick right up. I mean, they did, but it feels like they just took the show and
it's
put
not
it
like
in the late 90s.
It's not like they filled it full of 90s references to be like, this is 97. Like, like I think at one point you see a kid drop a Walkman.
Yeah.
With a tape in it, and I'm like, oh, that's cute. Yeah. But other than that, it's not like they're throwing this is the 90s.
Yeah.
No, man, it feels like this show was just continued from in the 90s.
And it's a lot of, there's little I mean, not even Easter eggs, but it's like Wolverine's still driving the same Jeep that he had in the first
That's
season.
right.
You know,
Yeah.
like stuff like that they didn't need to do, but it's a great
But
little.
it's there
If you watch the original, it's definitely like it pays up.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's so good, man. I'm so glad that this is what they went with. I'm glad that they didn't let, anything, any political discussions we have going on today, they didn't interject into
Though it
this.
does feel very timely. Some of the stuff they deal with feels like, wow, that's of today.
Well, of course, because we're dealing it back in the 90s too.
Yeah.
But that show was so good that they interwove their story, this ridiculous concept of mutants, into racial issues that were happening back then,
Right.
and we're still facing today. That's how you tell a good story, and that's how good storytellers. That's how good of storytellers these guys were. These people who wrote the 90s show and the show now is that they took a very important message that they want to tell, but they interwove it with a good story.
I know it's funny because
that's when you're doing a good job, because it does feel timeless.
Yeah, because I'm seeing a lot of like Gen Z, TikTok guys or something like that, and they're talking about it, and they're like, oh, the show's about trans rights, and it's like, this was about rights for everyone, like going way back. Like,
back in the 90s,
they don't think about that.
exactly.
That is because they're like, well, this show is about now, and you're like, well, it's about all the time. There's always
exactly.
there's always a
everything,
struggle for certain group of the demographic of people,
The downtrodden.
and this is I mean, the mutant is the everyman. It's
A mutant could be anybody.
exactly.
And the original creators of the X-Men, Stan Lee and Kirby, this is the story they were trying to tell. This was the X-Men was about the Civil Rights Union. Civil rights movement.
Yeah, I mean, they've even said like,
but they just
this
interwove it
was
with something
Dr.
else.
King versus Malcolm X.
Exactly.
That was their go-to.
Yeah, and that's the story they told back in the 60s.
Yeah.
And this is that's so the X-Men is once again just, it's like you said, it's timeless.
Yeah. And even then, they would take in a character like Magneto. Like, think about World War II was only like 20 odd years before that.
Exactly.
And they took a Jewish, concentration camp survivor.
Jeez, yeah.
And made him a villain.
Right.
But like a justifiable villain.
Exactly. A villain you could understand.
Right.
Where he was coming from.
And that was only 20 years removed from World War II.
Yeah.
They were doing some pretty fucking crazy shit.
Pretty amazing shit. Yeah, those two guys. Yeah. It's a great show. I'm so glad that because I was worried. That they were gonna mess something up and
Mickey
just
Mouse
wasn't
it
as
up.
good. Yeah, make it. Yeah, but it's
Well, I hope it's a success because I mean I really would love to see them do a continuation with the Spider-Man animated series.
Yeah, man.
Because that show ended on a cliffhanger, and it ended way before it should have.
Right.
And it's got, there's such a huge amount of people that love that show.
Such a great show.
And so I'm sure if this is a hit, if this sparks off, because they're already talking about season 2 and 3 of this.
Oh, okay.
I hope that leads to a Spider-Man continuation.
I would love that so much.
Yeah, it's so good, man. Yeah. Chad, you're in for a treat, man.
I don't doubt it from what you guys have been talking.
I want to see pictures of you Saturday morning in a row.
Eating a bowl of cereal.
That's
it. That's all I want to see. Just
okay.
we also just watched the Penguin trailer.
Yeah.
They released it today. What do you guys think?
Quack, quack. It's good stuff.
Quack,
yeah,
quack.
it has elements of Sopranos, elements of all the typical mob movies rising into power type of things.
And that's it's the good and the bad of it, right? Like I want a little bit more strange. I want a little bit.
No,
like,
that's true.
You don't have to go.
Yeah. I think, but
you don't have to go Tim Burton with it.
But since it's a teaser that they release, I think they're not showing all the weird, kind of creepy stuff.
I mean, I think Gotham, that show originally set out to do that.
Yeah.
And they kind of got it really well. I mean, I liked a lot of the origin, a lot of the characters.
Yeah.
Like I thought the origin of the Riddler in that show was really well
really
done.
well done. And
I really liked that guy.
The Penguin.
The Penguin, yeah. Absolutely.
I thought he was great in that.
Yeah, but I mean, they kind of dropped the ball towards the end of it. But it had some really good, they
went really camp.
Yeah, towards the end, man. But I liked how they did it in the beginning. Yeah, Penguin, Riddler was really great. I think they even had Zaz in there at some point.
Oh yeah, he was a major. Zaz was a major guy.
But the funny thing was, it was just like
there was no Hank.
You didn't really need you didn't really need a Batman when you had Gordon taking
taking
all the villains down. I was like, all right, well.
Well, I mean, I like what they did. He was kind of like a Batman-esque character in that. Yeah. He was a little overpowered, but I still really like that. I like that actor too. He did a really good job with it.
He's good.
So, but yeah, I mean, I hope we do get a little more. But I have a feeling it's going to be
because right now it
Soprano-ish.
just looks like a straight crime
Gangster
show, and I'm like, well, it doesn't have to be Batman then.
No.
It doesn't have to be the Penguin.
Exactly.
That's true. But I think though, as the episodes will progress. And the city is healing as well as the crime is
because
rising.
this takes place right after the first movie.
Yeah.
So I think strange things will be at least talked about if we don't see it.
Right.
So at least
just something of like, there's an alligator man in the sewer. You know,
something like that.
You know, yeah.
Well, that was great. If you guys ever remember the trailer from Gotham, you remember they were saying, before Catwoman, they'd show like the character before Riddler, before Penguin, there was Gotham. You know, that's a great. That's
but also, I would roll my eyes at that too. I'd be like, all right, here we go.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So okay. Oh, you're doing the Joker, but you can't call him. All right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Although that kid looks scary as shit. The one that
no,
played
he
young Joker.
he did he did a great job. Monahan.
Yeah, he's fantastic.
Yeah, he's really good in that.
Jedi Survivor.
Yeah, that's right.
You haven't played it yet.
Right.
But
is that still wrapped?
It is still wrapped.
You son of a bitch.
Justin was like, "I'll buy it off you for $1,000."
I don't have time. Dude. I wish there was more time, dude. I wish there was more time.
But no,
cancel.
Colin Farrell looks fantastic.
Oh, yes.
The makeup is insane. It's so crazy.
So good.
I love because I never noticed the mechanical brace on him before.
Yeah, I wonder if that.
I think it has something to do with correcting his walk.
I think
he has a limp.
Yeah, because he was a gimp. He was called a gimp, and he had the limp.
Yeah,
right.
But I think maybe he's trying to.
He never had shrimp.
That's true.
But he's quite a pimp.
Anyway.
I know you're a dad, so we'll let it slide.
Exactly.
But I think also maybe it's also from the car accident from Batman as well.
Yeah.
Like it got damaged more. And then he's
that
like,
gives him the waddle.
Yeah.
That makes sense. Yeah.
I still explain to me how he never got arrested for all that. He just,
right?
like he was chained up by Gordon, and he's like, "What are you doing?" And then they just let him go.
Well, I think because technically it wasn't official.
He shot and destroyed a shit ton of cars.
But hey, he wouldn't have done that if Batman wasn't chasing him.
Well, I mean, that is true. A lot of who knows how many innocent people.
I know.
Like, that night,
that car, that bridge.
People definitely died.
Yeah, no, there's no doubt.
And it's clearly Batman.
Like Batman didn't pause to be like, no, let's continue investigating. I'm not gonna help. I'm not gonna stop.
It was a really cool scene, but I was watching. I was like, how many people are down right now? The fuck? Wow.
Well, the driver of that truck definitely.
Oh, he definitely died.
Definitely.
That semi exploded as soon as it turned over. I was like, yeah, that guy's dead.
Unless there's deleted scenes of guys jumping out of the cars. Oh,
yeah,
like A-Team and stuff. They're just
just thrown from the vehicle. Whoa.
And also the Beetlejuice trailer dropped.
Beetlejuice.
What do you guys think of that, man?
It was great. I mean, what a great idea to pop that in front of Ghostbusters. Like, that was good.
Yeah.
That's smart. Good job.
It's the same demographic.
Yeah,
same
absolutely.
Audience.
Yeah, absolutely. And
they faced each other at Universal Park.
Yeah, I mean, it's really is a teaser. You don't get to see anything really of the plot. Other than it looks like there's a funeral.
Yeah,
and I think it's probably
the dad.
Yeah. I mean, Winona Ryder looks
amazing.
Almost identical to when she was 16 or whatever that first movie was.
I still have a crush on her.
Yeah, she's gorgeous.
I wonder if she shoplifted for the role. Sorry to bring that up, Winona. I'm sorry. I had to.
Free Winona.
Free Winona.
She could steal from me if she wants.
Yeah. Oh, she stole your heart.
She stole mine when I was 7 years old. Yeah.
And Keaton looks great. I mean, luckily that character is all makeup and.
Well, you could tell though the suit is a little baggier, like he shrunk. Almost, but I was like, hey, his head shrunk, so it could be a weird fitting costume. But I
know there's a lot of people.
They rebuilt the house I didn't know that they rebuilt the whole house,
and
obviously we've been hearing that their stop motion is back. That they're going to implement that throughout the movie.
Well, I mean, it looks like Burton's firing back on all cylinders. I'm
hoping.
Wednesday's really good.
I still have to watch it.
It's good, yeah.
It's really good. And we get Jenna Ortega in this as well.
Yep, exactly.
And she looks, I don't know if she's
I don't really know what
what
is she playing.
I don't know yet.
I know she's a
sister or something.
No, she's the daughter of Winona Ryder.
Oh, the daughter.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I looked at the IMDb. I was curious.
Okay. I did laugh a little bit because they do a slow version of Deo.
Yeah.
And I'm like, that's like every trailer nowadays.
Yeah,
they do. You gotta take your song from your past, and
slow down
the minor key version of it. And I was like, And I was like, oh god, they're doing that.
Sounded great. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'd rather have the original. It's just respect to what's his name? I'm blanking on his name. The singer of the
Halle Belafonte.
yeah.
There we go.
Yeah. Now there was another picture on IMDb that I came across that had Justin Theroux in it, and he's dressed very like weird in the sense he's got like.
I mean, they're all dressed weird.
No, but I mean like his is more like Otho weird type of
you
look.
think he's like an Ortho 2.0
or like artist vibe, like very.
Oh, I know what you mean.
So I think he's either friends
Otho
with
type.
Yeah, he's friends with Catherine O'Hara, or he could be a relative.
Oh yeah, because Catherine O'Hara's character is an artist.
Yeah.
So
I'm thinking
that modernistic.
maybe that's what that is.
Well, that's when the you see the grave and you see the casket go down. You see like one of her statues as a headstone.
Yeah,
it's like a glass version of it. It looks like.
Oh, you're right. Yeah.
So maybe it is the dad, and that's the headstone for it.
I think it is this dad to make them all return, because it seems like Winona and her daughter are returning to the mom's house.
Yeah.
There.
Probably to say goodbye to her father.
But also though the tarp over the small town, so maybe I don't know if the Catherine O'Hara left the house too. So who knows what the situation is. But
and then we brought up in the group chat that we have how they're going to explain away the ghosts of
Baldwin and Gina.
And of course, I said they're just going to say in one line. It's just they moved on. I had friends here. I had ghost friends, but they moved on or something like that. Something like that. Because it's going to be problematic.
Or they could go the other route and be like, oh, they got eaten by a sandworm. So
you said that, and I was like, damn, that's harsh. Dude.
I'm like, hey, it's like, sorry, bud. That's how we play the dead game. Sandworms, man. You gotta hate them.
That's a good.
Thank
you.
What do you think of Keaton's voice? I mean, he's got one line. He says the juice is loose.
I'm gonna let it slide because I don't know if that was filmed like first or what take that could have been or something.
And we might see a different take in the movie.
No, it just felt he wasn't totally back into it. Like he had trouble. It looks like he had trouble saying the line. So I don't know if it was just like, since he hasn't been doing it for a while, it's hard to get back in the type of the thing.
Say the line.
The juice is loose. The juice is loose. He said it slower though, but
it's a weird line because it's like a very '90s reference.
Yeah. Well, yeah,
I mean, that's from a '90s script.
I'm the ghost with the most, babe. But I'm more intrigued about Monica Bellucci, who plays his wife, and the fact that she is in a relationship with Tim Burton now. So I was like, if we were a few years back, would it Helen Bonham Carter? And I was like, I think that would be more interesting if she was.
It'd be 100%.
She'd be great. Yeah,
she's definitely more that aesthetic.
She's got that kind of. She got a weird
kind
vibe,
of dark gothic.
Yeah, exactly. So I mean, I love Monica Bellucci, but I think Helen would have played it a little bit. I haven't seen it yet, so I can't really judge.
Because it's like, you see like interviews with Tim Burton, he's always very he's reserved and tiny.
Yeah.
And then you see his dating, like, if you go back and look at how many of the women that you've dated, you go, how the fuck is this little guy getting all these chicks? And you're just like,
they love artists.
Well, no, obviously he's
how a brooding artist.
That's
well, no, he's like, I'll put him in my movie. That's exactly what happens.
He does with every one of them. That's true.
But yeah, I'm excited for it. I can't wait. It's going to be a good year for movies because then we also right before that we got Deadpool dropping. So it's
but in a sense, people are right when they're making that meme of like 80s and 90s are back, because also what else is coming? Alien Romulus.
Yeah, that trailer dropped.
It was. What did you think of it, Chad? Because you like that movie.
What movie?
No, go ahead, say it.
No, I mean, you obviously.
Alien.
Is it? You can't pronounce it. It's like,
I'm going to say
Alien versus Predator 2 Requiem.
Yeah.
Actually, I like that more than AVP.
Well, it's better than AVP.
Yeah.
I agree with you on that.
Okay.
But I don't agree with you that you like Prometheus, though. Do you think it's a good movie? I think it's a ridiculous movie.
I know there's problems with the movie, and the beginning of the movie, like the first half of the movie, is great. I like Prometheus. And then Prometheus.
First half of Prometheus.
First half of Prometheus. Sorry, let me make that clear. And as it goes on, it's like, all right, they're making decisions here that's not
that don't make any sense.
I mean, now this is you have to pretend that this is before the first movie, so people are even dumber. Then people aren't going to make great choices.
They've mastered space travel, but they can't run away from a spaceship unless you go a straight line.
It happens, baby.
That's the least of it, Watson. That's the least of the bad mistakes I made.
No, because you're curious. You're going into deep space for the first time.
Yeah, so
you find an alien snake.
Yeah, so you would think that you would keep all your protective gear on because you have no idea what's out there.
And you're protected by a synthoid being. You're fine. You're settled in. I'm pretty good.
About all that.
You know what? Let me take off this mask.
There's something.
Let me play with the snake.
Oh yeah, there's something
play with the space
clearly
snake.
hostile in front of me. I'm gonna take off my space
and that guy
helmet.
was the zoologist, I believe.
But a zoologist hanging out with animals all the time, he's pretty comfortable.
Yeah.
He doesn't know.
He's the Steve Irwin of space.
He's like, oh, look at the little, like people, how they treat every freaking dog they see. They're like, this is a nice dog. It could bite you, though.
Yeah.
It's going to bite you.
I think
nothing about the look of that snake looked friendly.
Yeah, exactly. I think one of the worst lines of that movie is when they come out of deep sleep or whatever they call it, hypersleep.
Yeah.
And they're getting briefed, and they're like, so what's the mission? What are we doing? And I'm like, wouldn't you have thought about that before you even sign up for the mission? Like, what's going on? What are we doing?
Hey,
what the fuck?
The company might have
it was a
need to know exactly because obviously
not,
the whole other plot of
you're gonna be asleep for 40 years
of Wayland.
Yeah, it's just gonna be 5-year mission
because you didn't even know Wayland was hiding in the background in the ship.
That's the other. Oh my god!
Good thing he was.
Because that was a sub.
Because good thing he was there. Yeah. Good thing you hired Guy Pearce to put on old age makeup for no reason.
What is that?
Because you don't want to hire an old guy.
Yep. Exactly. Exactly.
And of course, the worst part of that movie is Guy Pearce's character.
I like we're just shitting on this now.
Yeah, he goes to these aliens he knows nothing about. And he says, "Hey, man,
of course he's not going to know anything about aliens.
Can you cure me?" Let's say the alien wasn't hostile at all.
No,
let's
say
the alien was.
If I met,
let's say the alien was productive to listening him out, right?
Yeah.
Let's just say he was, right?
Okay.
Receptive to hearing him out, right?
Mm-hmm.
And Wayland would be like, "Hey, man, I got this incurable disease. Can you cure me?" Why wouldn't the alien be like, "Why would you think that I have that technology?" Like. What part of your research thought that I would have that type of technology? And even if I did, I don't have any gear here. And even if I did, I'm not a medic. I'm an engineer.
Well,
I'm an astronaut. What the fuck? That's like somebody from the 1400s coming to present day and going up to a mechanic and being like, "Hey man, can you cure me this disease?"
But
the mechanic
you gotta understand though.
I don't do that, bro.
You gotta understand in that plot they think. Obviously, there is no God. These are our gods. They gave us life. They are bioengineers.
No.
With the liquid they dropped on the planet.
I would understand that if these were like people who were living in the forest that had no idea what technology was, but these people are clearly advanced. The humans are clearly advanced because they build spaceships to travel.
Well, yeah. By the way, they had a medic pod on the ship.
Yes, that could
have cured.
Anything, basically.
So why didn't they use that to cure him instead? She had to pull out the baby.
Yeah,
the tentacle baby.
I believe he was trying to cure his old age. He didn't want to die of old age.
Right, exactly.
So, but that machine's not going to cure old age.
Well, you know what? Technically, he did cure him of old age. He killed him.
Yeah. Well, that's even worse, Chad.
Maybe he was like, I could cure that.
I want to be immortal. Why the hunters or whatever the space people would be like
the creators?
Why would you think that we could solve that? That's what are you talking about?
Because they created life. Maybe they have a way of elongated life. You don't know how long they've been living. You got a lot of questions. He jumped the gun with the questions. But hey, he's an old man. He's in a hurry.
They're basic good questions.
I'd be in a hurry.
How much time did he lose just traveling over there? And
I don't know. I don't recall off the top of it.
He was frozen, right?
He was frozen,
He didn't lose anything.
Well, he should have been frozen longer until they find out.
Well, they didn't even
a cure for death.
Only Michael Fassbender knew he was there.
Oh God, it's not a good movie. Jeff.
So anyway, the first half you really like,
and then there's some things that happen, and I'm like, okay, all right, okay. But in the end, I enjoyed the movie as a whole.
I loved it too, and I thought she was a great character to survive until the next movie where they kill her off immediately.
And that was disappointing. I will say that was disappointing. But I enjoyed parts. I enjoyed parts of Covenant because I liked where they were going with Michael Fassbender's because there's more than one of him.
Yeah.
And I was like, this is interesting
Oh, yeah.
to evolve
The
him.
multiple Davids.
And he's almost creating the xenomorph we know.
Yeah.
So I was like, oh, this is cool. But now, obviously, since those two movies didn't do too well, that we're not going to get that third one to wrap it up. Ridley is just like, I'm not.
So he's producing
He's
this
producing
one.
this
Right.
Romulus show. And the director...
It's a show?
Yeah, it's a show.
Oh.
Right? I'm not
It was a
wrong.
movie.
I thought it was a movie, too.
Oh, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm totally wrong.
But
Just like you are about...
No, no.
everything
No?
else he
No.
said has been
Well, I mean, wouldn't you think an alien show would be interesting?
I would definitely... I'd watch it. Oh, no, I mean...
you've time to even, like, okay, the first season's in space, dealing with that. And at the same time, the second season is Weyland Yutani on Earth experimenting with, whatever.
No, Matt, dude, like the trailer looks amazing, and it looks like they're going back to like sci-fi horror.
it looks
Yeah.
like the first movie.
Yeah.
Right now, saying that,
Hopefully
Romulus and Requiem also. I'm Romulus and what was the other one?
Remus?
Not Remus, yeah. No,
Promet- Which.
Romulus and Remus.
oh my God, no. Prometheus. I'm
Prometheus.
sorry.
Oh, okay.
Jesus Christ, Prometheus and
Covenant.
Covenant had really good trailers too.
Yeah.
myth.
Yeah, they had really good trailers too.
That's
and
true.
They weren't
Yeah,
great.
that's true.
So, but if the movie follows the same lines as the trailer, which is like just going back to the straight sci-fi horror,
Yeah.
and these people are just these survivors that are being whittled down little by little as they move through this. It looks like a space station.
I mean, well, that's what I'm curious about because, like, however many years, because from the first one, this takes place. I'm not too sure. I didn't really look it up.
It seemed like it takes place at the same time as Aliens, maybe.
Well, that's the thing.
I don't
because
know.
like, I want the reason for them to like whatever they're doing. If they're miners like in the first one, or if they're scientists, like hopefully that works to the plot and not
Right.
just like
I don't.
They're
wanna
in
see
space,
I
you
don't
know?
want to see. Yeah, I agree. I don't want to see a retreading of the first
Yeah.
movie because we've done that. And then I mean, I was excited when Alien 4, which Resurrection, came out.
yes, yeah,
The
Resurrection.
following, if that was a hit,
Yeah,
the following one was gonna take place on Earth.
that would have been
Right.
interesting.
And because you see and the whole
The
like,
humanoid or the skeletal,
right,
one.
and the whole thing was that Sigourney Weaver's character finally makes it Earth, right? Because
Yeah.
she's been trying for 4 movies,
Yeah.
and it's 200, it's 200 years removed from the first one, and it was finally her returning home, and then finding out that Earth has been taken over. So that was the original plot. Then I was
I didn't know
that's
that.
great. I would have loved to have seen something a little different,
yeah.
other than aliens and
Space
again.
station,
You
yeah.
know, like.
No,
It,
I agree.
I know a lot of people shit on Alien 3, but I do like that it's about a
Prison
prison
Yeah.
planet,
No,
and they have no weapons.
it's got its
I mean,
moments.
I
Yeah.
think it's
And they got to come up with their own ways of fighting because they don't have any weapons.
I think
yeah.
it has its merits.
Yeah,
Yeah.
no, for sure.
No,
I
like-
mean this trailer kind of reminded me of like Aliens Isolation, the video game.
Yeah,
Yeah.
You know?
absolutely.
And
like
that's-
it's like they're stuck
yeah.
on some. It's probably going to be a
Space
space
station,
station.
yeah.
It's probably going to be a space,
Most
which
likely.
I'm fine with.
That's
I agree with Watson, but at the same time, I don't have any problem with. Oh, it's space again.
That is
okay.
cool.
Fine, whatever.
But
Yeah.
I would hope it's more of an original idea of how the alien gets on their
Right.
vessel. It's not like, someone gets, and then they bring them back on board because we've seen that multiple times.
Yeah. Well, there's a scene in there where you've got like half a dozen face huggers.
I
jumping
know,
on
and they're
people.
chasing them.
Yeah,
So
that's
I'm like,
really-
okay,
that looked
I
really
like
fucking
that. I
sick.
like
so
That
either
looked really sick.
the space station been harvesting eggs, or there's a queen on board, or I mean, there's so many ways you could take it.
Yeah.
Um,
Like they're experimenting. on
And
them.
are they going to try to blend predator lore in there as well? I don't know.
That'd be dope.
It would be cool, but that'd be a
think
little
it will.
much. That'd be a
I
I
little
think
much.
at this point, there's still. I think you have to make the Alien franchise
Exactly.
stronger.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think I think taking it back to basics.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Taking it back to, hey, what do we love about the Alien franchise? It's like it's a submarine story, really.
Yeah.
It's
Well,
being isolated in these tiny places with an enemy.
Right.
Like, I love, in the comics, explored it a little bit more, is like Weyland Yutani, they're what they are about and what they do.
Yeah.
And they're into building weapons. They're also into
Terraforming.
terraforming. And there's one specific comic, I forget exactly, but they take the blood or something or DNA of an alien and they're using it as like steroids for human or military actually. And I was like, but some of it would drive the guy insane and he would like run into a wall and just splatter.
That's how the Space Marines were.
Yeah, and
created.
so I would love to see more of the corruption of the company.
Yeah.
Other than just it be an android on a ship that's
Right.
like doing the bidding of whoever.
Right.
Like, so maybe I know in Aliens we got the human, like it wasn't an android, but it's still like I don't know. I wish there was something a little bit more.
More threat.
Yeah, like yes, the alien is the threat, but like there's a bigger threat with if they're making a series out of this,
I mean,
or like a series of movies.
Yeah.
Just like I would love a longer story than just dealt with the alien and then up to the
Yeah, and you certainly got to get a different like whatever double agent aside from an android or human.
Yeah,
that's kind of played out at this point. Like, oh, it's an android. He's either gonna be really a great guy or he's gonna be evil.
Yeah,
a company man. Well, he's probably gonna be evil.
Yeah,
it's just kind of that thing. Yeah.
So it's like, oh, maybe it could be a soldier this time if there's soldiers like a space marine.
Space Marines, yeah.
Like he's it could be a or a scientist who's obsessed with the alien physiology and I don't know. I mean, there's so many ways you could go. So
we'll find out.
We will
when that movie comes out.
Yeah, exactly.
We'll find out what Romulus means.
I'm guessing it's the name of the space station,
or the
I think
galaxy, or the universe.
I think it's the name of the space. I think we saw. Was there something?
Maybe it was, and I didn't pay attention. Probably, most likely.
I think it's a space station.
Yeah, it's most likely.
Same as Prometheus. Covenant was the same thing too.
Yeah.
Right? Covenant was the name of the ship.
The ship.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, that makes sense.
Danny McBride is the captain.
Yeah, I liked it. I was,
and
you saw them on grass and stuff. It was cool.
Yeah,
like the alien.
The planet that they were on?
Yeah, it was like a green planet. I was like, this is interesting.
Remember that guy? He's like, this is wheat. I know wheat.
Yeah.
Remember? Yeah.
And then they get...
He's quoting a movie he doesn't like, guys. He knows it.
There was some parts of it that it was better than... It was better than the first one.
Okay.
For me, it was better than Prometheus.
All right. I didn't
think it was a great movie, but I prefer to watch that than Prometheus.
That's fair.
I still was upset that they didn't wear like environmental suits, like walking around this planet.
No, gee, interesting,
and then
right?
Goddamn, like
they got spores in them.
Spores in their face.
Oh,
and they're just like, yeah, they're fine.
Well, that's what happens usually when you go onto a planet that you know nothing of.
Yeah.
And with no environmental protection.
And all those guys.
Star Trek all the time.
Yeah.
So
I believe all those guys were not scientists either.
No, they were a religious group, right? They were like
some missionaries.
No. They were astronauts, but they were sent out to colonize another planet.
Oh yeah,
they were
farmers, space farmers.
Yeah, farmers. Yeah, they don't know shit. Yeah.
Jesus.
It's botanists.
It was a movie Martian.
Yeah.
No, real like farmers in real life. Obviously, they know way more than.
You don't isolate our farming listeners.
Hey, I love farmers, man. I love farmers. I don't want to farm.
Jebediah's on the field.
I'm glad they like to farm.
Like, oh, okay. Well,
we love you, Jebediah.
Yeah.
I'm glad they like to farm, so I don't have to farm, and then I could eat one of those delicious fresh tomatoes.
He was just like, what do farmers grow? Tomatoes.
See, that's why it would be good. What do I grow? I don't know. I mean, corn.
Oh man. So yeah, if you guys got anything else,
on that subject, or,
yeah. Anything else, or any other subject? Anything else you want to talk about?
Oh yeah, I watched the new Roadhouse with Jake.
Oh, you don't
Roadhouse.
Roadhouse. Man, in the '80s are back, dude. We're talking about Beetlejuice. We're talking about Ghostbusters, and I'm going to talk about Roadhouse.
Because Hollywood's out of ideas, and they're just retooling everything.
Everything's in retrograde. I know that's not what it means, but I'm using it like that. So
retro, baby. I fucking love this film. I thought it was really good. It's one of those films where it knows how ridiculous the premise is, and everyone in the movie is following the rules of the movie, and by that I mean like the bad guys are being bad guys, and like Jake Gyllenhaal.
Is there a baby in this?
A baby?
Huh?
Wasn't that from Roadhouse?
No, you're thinking that's Dirty Dancing.
Oh, my bad.
Jeez.
I get mixed up.
Yeah.
Patrick Swayze's rolling in his grave.
I know, I'm sorry, Patrick.
But I don't know. I'm a fan of the original Roadhouse.
I'm trying to think if I ever saw it.
Oh man, we're gonna watch it right now.
It's a classic.
Plus, Patrick Swayze plays
Sam Elliott.
world famous bouncer Dalton, who gets hired by to go work at this roadhouse called the Double Deuces down and to stop the rowdiness.
I know obviously what it is, but I can't remember.
And he's famous for one thing, which is he ripped the throat out of a guy.
Oh yeah,
one time.
Oh,
so
that's not.
So he said whenever he's in a fight, you see him like going for the throat, and he goes, "Oh, I can't rip out a throat. I want to." Anyway, it's fantastic.
Does he ever rip out a throat again?
Oh yeah, he does.
Nice.
Yeah. So nice. He's finally like, you're worth it. You're the bad guy. I'm gonna rip a throat out.
Jeez. No, I don't think I've seen this.
Now is that why he's famous in this new one?
No. Yeah. Well, the new one's actually so Jake Gyllenhaal playing Dalton is a reluctant guy. He's a ex-UFC guy.
Okay.
So you see like Frankie, who runs the bar, is going to a bar to find a guy to be a bouncer, and that guy, who's played by Post Malone, is doing like cage fighting, and Jake Gyllenhaal gets in the cage, and basically Post Malone's like, "I'm not gonna fight that guy," and he walks out. And Jake Gyllenhaal gets a bunch of money because and everyone's mad because like the fight isn't going down. And they're like, and so she's like, well, why didn't that guy want to fight you? Like, obviously you're more of a badass than that guy. So she hires Jake Gyllenhaal to come down and be the bouncer of the Roadhouse.
Okay.
And you find out he was an ex-UFC guy who killed a guy in the ring.
Okay.
And that's why
ripping his throat out.
No, it's a knee to the face. But, it'd be weird in a UFC fight if you go for the throat.
I think that's an illegal move.
Yeah, I mean, it's shown as kind of like he kind of lost his cool, and then he just goes off on the guy. And so through the movie, he plays this very like lovable, like funny dude. So like. And just like, and then like they're kind of like everyone's confused because like all these guys want to fight him, and he's just like super nice, and they're like, he's like, Mr. Rogers, I don't want to fight this guy, and then like he just goes off on him and goes ham, and like the fights are really visceral, very interestingly shot, where it's all kind of done as a oneer. Obviously, there's some digital stitching, you can tell. Yeah, but it's all done kind of like there's a lot of first person, so in the middle of a fight, it'll turn to a first person view. It's very good, very well done. And yeah, like he's like there's one bit where this, obviously there's like there's a crime boss in the town, and he's like, get Dalton. And so the he gets one of his lackeys to go after, and he walks up to Dalton on the street. He's like, get in the car, and Dalton's like, nah, I'm good. And the guy like flashes a gun in his down his pants kind of thing. He's like, get in the car, and he's like, nah. And he's like, what are you talking about? No, I got a gun, man. And he's like, yeah, I can tell you have a gun. But he's like, it's down your pants. It's not threatening me in any way.
Chris Walken did it first.
Yeah. And then
yep,
it's true. And then he's just like, look, if I break your fingers, you can't pick. He's like, if I break your index finger, you can't use your gun, kind of thing. And then he immediately like breaks the guy's fingers. And he's like, ah. And then he's like, oh, there's a hospital like 25 miles that way. You'll be all right. Kind of thing. It's just it's very well done. Gyllenhaal is what?
That's why you don't get that close to anybody if you have a gun.
I know, but that's the thing. Is the whole point is the town is like dumb. All the criminals there are doing very like 80s criminals things.
Oh sure, of course.
And he's just kind of calling them on it.
Oh okay.
I'm like, why are you doing it that way? So but yeah, I mean, there's a lot of really fun scenes, which like. There's a great bit where he's talking about like people losing. I don't want to ruin. If you're gonna see it, it's really good.
It sounds good.
I highly recommend it. It's on Amazon Prime. So, and
Conor McGregor.
Conor McGregor's great. He's doing like.
Oh yeah, I forgot he's in that.
He's doing he is hamming. He's eating eating up all the scenery, chewing up every scene, just being as much as the Joker as he can be. He's doing like I said, like Jason Momoa from Fast X kind of thing. Like he is enjoying every bit of being on screen.
Okay.
And they have a really good tussle.
Nice. Now from the fighting that in his performance, Gyllenhaal's performance, could you see him? Because in the news or in an article he was quoted. It was like, "Yeah, it'd be an honor to be Batman if I was, Batman." Could you see him being Batman?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I could. I mean, he's physically. I mean, like, I don't know if you've seen pictures of him.
No, yeah,
he
that's
is
what-
in ridiculous shape.
Mm-hmm.
He fights really well. I mean, it's a lot of like I said, like a lot of one-ers and stuff, and it's definitely him doing the fighting.
That's good.
And I know, like, through his career, his acting range. I mean, he can pull off dark and brooding. We've seen him do that.
Yeah, of course.
And, manic is in like in Nightcrawler and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So, I mean, like, I think the guy's got the range and everything to do it. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I'd be a fan of Gyllenhaal
This is Batman.
as Batman.
Yeah.
Okay.
Cool.
Oh, and that's the thing. Like, that guy's got charisma. Like every scene in this movie, I feel like he's gonna have sex with someone else in the scene. He has scenes with like fucking McGregor. I'm like, are they gonna fucking kiss right now? Because it's palpable.
Really?
Every scene, like, I'm telling you, he's got scenes with like 13-year-old girls. I'm like, they're gonna fuck.
Jeez.
Oh God. Maybe I don't want to see that.
Well, no, they don't.
I know.
But I'm just saying the guy's got Riz as
Okay.
the kids.
the
say.
Riz.
He's
Yeah,
got the
got
Riz.
the
He's
Riz.
rizzed
Which
up.
is short for charisma.
Yeah,
Which-
exactly.
which, yeah.
Is that what that's
Yeah.
short for?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You learn something new every day.
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
And
No cap.
no cap. Jeez. I also wanted to bring up the Crow trailer.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Now I know it's getting a lot of flack online with his look, and
Yeah, it's not very
I
crowish.
think it looks better in motion
well,
because watching the trailer, like when he's walking and stuff, and
Yeah.
he's got the I guess it's not makeup in this. It's kind of like grease
tattoo or something like that.
or it looks like every time he dies in this, he's got a little bit more of the black like
Paint
oozing,
or something. Yeah.
Interesting.
like
Well, because there's multiple crows
Yes.
in the comics and things like
Yeah,
that.
yeah, yeah.
Mhm.
And I feel like they shouldn't have taken Eric Draven.
I know.
I think they should have just left that one alone.
I know.
And this could have been a new crow story.
Absolutely.
Yes.
And
right.
the thing why is because I even looked it up because someone mentioned it. I was like, his look in this one is of another crow actually.
Yeah, right.
I forget his name, but something Choi or something like that. But I was like, then why didn't you just do that guy?
Right. Exactly. I
So-
was thinking the same thing. Yeah.
Name recognition. It's.
I mean,
you know,
I get it, but like I think there's certain times where you just let a character, because it was done so well with Brandon Lee and like the tragedy that went on with that movie.
So
It's just like, yeah. Well,
So I, because watching that trailer got me
Yeah.
going, I really want to watch the first Crow
Yeah.
movie. And I went, and it was one of those nights I had the night off, and I couldn't sleep because
Yeah.
I work nights. And it's like I spent the entire night in a Crow marathon, and I watched Crow, I watched Crow City of Angels, I watched Salvation, and I watched Wicked Prayer.
I haven't seen the sequels. Are they good?
I haven't. I didn't even know about those.
Yeah. So the first one is Eric Draven.
Yeah.
Second one is the character's name is Ash, and his motive is because his son dies. The third one, Salvation. The second one, is a lot like the original one.
Okay.
It's kind of like you can
Rehashing
skip
a bit.
that one.
Okay.
The next one, Salvation, is actually a really good, like, who done it. Because the whole point, so his character, the crow in that is this is a character. I think his name's Eric in that, but he's on death row and gets sentenced to death, and then comes back after to find out who the murderer really was.
Yeah, that does.
Because
sound
he's
good.
claiming he was innocent the whole time, and they're like, "No, you killed your girlfriend."
Yeah.
And then he comes back to find out who's
Who's behind it?
behind it. So it was, and then like Kirsten Dunst is in that one.
Really?
It's
Oh.
like, yeah, it's really good. And that was like 97. The last one is a piece of shit. That's the Eddie Furlong. David Boreanaz is the bad guy.
Really?
Who's
Dave
a David?
Boreanaz, really?
Yeah, as a devil worshiper. And it's bad. It's really bad.
Yeah.
It's a wicked prayer. Like literally, he puts the crow makeup on with
Yeah.
a Sharpie. It's like,
No, he doesn't.
yeah,
Oh,
so
God.
it's terrible.
Because, like, yeah, not all the crows have the same look
Look,
or
yeah,
makeup
yeah.
and stuff. So it's like, yeah, I can understand it for this movie.
Yeah.
He's not, but Eric Draven has that look. So
Yeah.
it's like,
Mm-hmm.
why
Well,
not do it?
Yeah, and they did it. So in the second one, in City of Angels,
Yeah.
they follow the character of Sarah from the first one, the little girl.
Okay, yeah.
She's grown up in the second one, and she puts the makeup on him to be like, I know someone like who came
like
back
you.
like you,
Okay.
and does the
Interesting.
makeup and
Yeah.
uses the. And this part actually like got me teary eyed, but it uses the kids' paint set to do the makeup.
wow.
And I was like, oh, that
That's the
gets
second
me.
one?
Yeah.
Oh, interesting.
To be like, this is Danny's the son. He's like, this
Yeah.
is Danny's paints. He used them every day. Now you
Mm.
can. And then the third one, on death row, he's electrocuted. He's given he's on the electric chair.
Yeah.
And they put a helmet on his head, and it's actually scars.
That's
From
cool.
so
I like
it's a really good look actually,
yeah.
because like scarification more
Yeah.
than makeup.
Huh.
So and then the
Which
fourth
one is the third one?
That's Salvation.
Salvation. I'm gonna check these out.
Yeah, man. I think they're all
City of
streaming.
Angels and Salvation.
Yeah.
Okay.
I just
I
think
mean, nothing beats the first one soundtrack.
I've I've never seen any of those sequels. I thought they were all
Oh,
gonna
man.
be trash, dude.
Yeah,
So,
and then the Mark DeCostas had a TV series, Crow Stairway to Heaven. It's
that sounds
very
familiar.
like
sounds familiar.
it's like Crow during the daytime in Canada, so
Oh,
it's
really?
it's very like Highlander the series.
Oh, okay.
You
I
know,
gotta check
but
that out.
it's not bad to check out. So I've been on a
Okay.
little Crow kick.
That's cool.
Well, like I just think from the trailer of this new one or this reboot that from the shots we've seen, I don't think we'll get anything as dramatic as like there were certain scenes in Brandon Lee's where he's got the girl on heroin and he pushes it out and is like, your daughter's on the street, go, you know.
One of my
Like I just don't think I don't know. I people, that's why you shouldn't use the same name, because people are going to compare it no matter what.
right.
absolutely.
And that's-
right.
It looks like I think we talked about this. Someone mentioned that the new one looks kind of like John Wick. But
I didn't get that, but I understand what people meant by it. But
rather than a Crow movie, because it doesn't have that gothic feel
No.
that the first one has.
yeah.
I mean, you know,
I mean, you got to update with the times, obviously.
right?
But like with this
Like, he
story,
looks like
or with
Skrillex.
his specific story, you want to go visually darker, and
Yeah,
just I don't know. It's
Agreed.
because I hear it's not exactly the same plot of the first one, but it's a mixture of different Crows stories, and I'm like, that might not be good
Yeah.
either.
Yeah, that sounds like it's
So,
a recipe for disaster, dude.
That's why I'm just like, well, you got to just pick one and go with
Yeah.
it.
yeah.
Because if you're jumbling it all together, people are going to be confused.
and you're right. I mean,
Right.
there's a lot of Crow comic books out there, which with different storylines, you could just pick one of those to
Yeah,
go with.
Exactly.
You know, instead
Like
of
I
try and.
if they did a remake of the Salvation one, I'm like, that fits.
I'd
That
say
sounds
definitely.
dope,
I mean, I think
Yeah.
everyone slept on it. It came out in like '97. Yet again, the score's not great. They reused some of the shots from the first movie, like a lot of the Crow flying stuff. But it's definitely done on a cheaper budget. But
Yeah.
I think it was a really good story. I think the script really is good.
Okay.
That's dope. Are you guys gonna go check it out?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean,
I'll go.
I love Skarsgård.
Yeah, me
he always
too.
gives a good performance.
Yeah.
It's just
He does
I'm
motion
gonna try to
something.
not
Yeah.
think about the first movie.
That's going to be hard, but
It's
yeah.
gonna be hard to do.
Yeah, true.
But I think hopefully, there's a whole generation out there that knows nothing of the first one.
And that's true too.
That is true.
So,
That is true.
I mean, like I'm sure, obviously, with Ghostbusters and
yeah.
the newer versions of the '80s things we love, people will like more than the.
And it might make him go back to look at the original.
Exactly.
Stuff.
So,
Like,
very
there
true.
was
Yeah.
one of these,
yeah.
very true. Cool. Anything else?
Uh,
Do you guys watch? Checked out?
I think that was it.
yeah, I'm trying to think if there was anything else
Um,
trailer wise. Beetlejuice we talked about. We talked
Yeah,
about
Beetlejuice, Crow, Penguin. Yeah, I don't think there was.
Yeah, I mean, we got Shogun still, but I have not caught up.
Yeah.
There's the Rick and Michonne show, The Ones Who Survive, that I'm caught up on, but I think I'll talk about it more when the series is over, because I think there's two
Do
more
like
episodes.
an overview of the.
Yeah, there's 2 more episodes left. It's pretty good so far.
All right.
Yeah.
Cool.
All right, great. Well, Chad, you want to take us out?
All right, and thank you all for listening to another episode of Enter the Nerdom. I hope you've enjoyed all the spoilers we've dived into, and all the spoilers we didn't dive into. So respect that if you can.
We try to be restrained.
You try.
And obviously, if you aren't already, for some reason, if you've just come across us right now at this very moment, like and subscribe, comment, send us hate, send us love, preferably love, love, but whatever you're feeling. And
you have consent.
Yeah. Not to touch any of us.
For your love, for the love.
Yes, for the love. Yes. So thank you guys for tuning in again. Catch you next time. And as we always say, enter the nerddom, exit the 80s resurgence of films that we love because we're that old. I mean, not me.
We're slowly dying.
Watson and I'm young. I'm slightly younger. I'm slightly younger.
You're pretty much already there.
I mean, no.
Yeah.
I mean, black don't crack, but
you have scored a point, sir.